Welcome to the first ever Orbital's League of Legends $500 Fearless Showdown. I have with me some fantastic analysts. I'll use the word fantastic for now because we've had a little bit of back and forth in the behind the scenes in the green room here, but we're just going to go around, not quite in a circle. I'm just going to call your name. Dylan, give us a little bit of an introduction. How are you feeling today?
How's it going, everybody? I'm feeling pretty great, actually. Super excited. As soon as I saw that I believe it was the Eastern Academy Leagues, were moving to a fearless draft strategy, I wanted to see how it would play out in NA. So, for the opportunity for this to happen is pretty amazing. So, a little bit about myself. I'm currently in the amateur scene. Was working with Team Fish Taco this last split. Wildcard Red, 3-time champs last split. Hey, you got to shout them out, of course. So yeah, have some experience in the amateur scene. Obviously, always learning, always improving. But yeah, it's definitely a pleasure to be here, and thank you all for having me on.
Excellent. Well, we're glad to be working with you. All right, moving on. We're just going to go right down. Regdor, give us a little bit of information about yourself. And yeah, how are you feeling about today's matches?
I'm feeling so excited about today's matches. I had the idea of a charcuterie board because I think that this is going to be a lot of cheese and a little bit of meat here. This is me, working with the millennial viewers to cover up for my old age. But yeah, I'm a color caster.
So you use the phrase charcuterie board to connect with the Zoomers. Okay.
No. The millennials. The Zoomers, not so much. Boomers are too old for it. Millennials, that's just like chef's kiss. It's right there in the middle of everything.
So can you give us a little bit of information about yourself, how you're involved in the scene, what you do around here?
Absolutely. I'm a color caster. I was on Proving Grounds this past summer in the open qualifiers and kind of got my feet wet in the amateur scene. And I'm also a ref for the LCS and Academy, so I get to, yell at pro gamers. No, not really. I just, stand behind the scenes and make sure everything goes well. But that's like my claim to fame for now.
Hey, yeah, I was going to say you can only go up, but that's absolutely not the case with that one. So good luck with where you're at. All right, we're going to move on to Sean. We're having fun here today. This is a Fearless show match, okay? Fearless is the name of the game. So I'm going to pass this one on to Shawna Tonin, same kind of thing. Give us a little bit of info about yourself and tell us how you're feeling about today's matches.
I'm feeling great about these matches to go in reverse order. I can't wait. Kind of like what Dylan was saying. Fearless mode means, people's champ pools are going to be stretched real thin. Can't wait to see who gets pinpointed by game 2 and 3. Okay, this guy can't play X champion. We'll see what he's put on. And for me, I was a former GM of Supernova in the amateur scene, assistant coach there, and kind of dibble dabble, pip popping around in the collegiate scene and stuff like that. So really, really excited to have this. Love that we're doing this here today.
Yeah, LFT, Sean.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
All right, there you go.
Fearless today.
Yeah, there you go.
Let's go.
All right, okay. Since we're talking about Fearless, really quick before we get into the actual rosters of the teams that we're looking at here today, so we can discuss the loves and the hates there. The Fearless show match itself, for those of you who don't know, yes, has more recently been kind of introduced here to the NA scene. Basically, this is going to be a best of 5 series, and each team that selects the champions, the next time we go into draft, those champions are going to be listed, and only the particular team that actually selected those champs is not going to be able to use them again. So this doesn't mean that the opposing team also has them removed from their champ pool. Each team has basically one chance to do well on each of these champions, and if they fail, it's too bad. It's on to the next, and you better figure out another composition. So that's kind of what we're looking at, is deeper champ pools, right? Not only deeper champ pools, but the ability to kind of create more cohesive or even just more win conditions within kind of messed up compositions potentially. So now that we kind of gone over exactly what we're going to be looking at here, let's talk about the teams that we have on docket today. We have 2 teams, of course. Thank you so much to team :3. Everybody's calling them Pringles because it looks like the Pringles guy with the mustache. So let's take a quick look. We got Hoppy in the top lane, Biora in the jungle, Prussian in the mid lane, Yanni in the bottom, and Smacks there as the support. And our other team is Zuby Zoomers. Those of you that are familiar with Colomer, who is the support, they know the name Zuby. That is his beloved cat. So Miko's going to be in the top lane there, Sulpan in the jungle, Dakar in the mid lane, and Idol as the ADC. Colomer, of course, there as support. So I'm going to touch on each of you guys and see exactly who you're looking at who you are expecting to not do well, because this is this is fun, right? This is, I guess, there is money on the line. There's $500. The winning team is going to be going home with $360. The losing team is going to $140. Big ups to Orbital for putting all this together and funding this with his own money out of pocket. Really appreciate being a part of this and letting us get paid on top of it. So now that we're talking about the rosters, we'll start with Dylan. Anybody in particular that, all of us are pretty much friends with each other kind of in this scene, right? So is there anyone that you are watching you think's going to pop off, you think's going to do poorly, you think's going to be outdrafted?
So to me, it's actually quite interesting. I've actually been basically mentored by three of the individuals, Biora, Prussian, and Miko. So obviously I'm really going to want to see them do well. The one thing that I'm going to look out for is Biora in the jungle, however. I personally have never seen him play jungle. Every time I've seen him play, it's as a top laner. So I know he has some unique things that he wants to try and pull out in the matches today. So we'll see how creative he can get and if he can live evil enough to make sure that it gets pulled off.
I love that. I love it. Little references to some of the connections, because we've got players, we've got coaches as well. Actually, there are quite a few coaches on here, or people who have previously been coaches. So we're just gonna hop right down to you, Regdor. Same kind of thing, right? Who do you know? Who do you love? Who don't you love? And who do you expect to get trounced on today?
Okay, so both the person I think is going to pop off and actually do horrible is the same person. and I think it's Decker. And the reason is I've had some conversations. He's a great lad, and he had some heavy trash talk to put down. But I honestly think that the name of the game is going to be like targeting him, and it's going to work at some point. You got to win to lose, or you got to lose to win. Either way, he's going to have the duality of life, I think, in this series.
Yeah, he's going to be going up against Prussian there in the mid lane, so that's definitely going to be, a test for him to see how well he is able to do. Not just to see how well he's able to do, how well he's able to back up the trash talk. Because yes, of all the players here, Dakar is absolutely one of those that you think is such a kind, gentle human being, and then you get to comms, and he will bury you, absolutely bury you. All right, cool. I'm glad that we're talking about a bunch of different players and we all have connections to different people. I'm going to toss it to you, Sean, and then I'll let you guys know my connections with some of these guys. But I know you and I, we're in my Discord together, so we play a lot with a lot of these individuals pretty often. So what are your expectations going in?
So for me, I'm actually just looking at a specific matchup, because I feel like whoever does well in this matchup, the other person's going to kind of get the end of the stick, and that's in top lane with Hoppy Cow and Miko. Like literally, those two guys play so specific ways, and they have very, very specific ways they look at the game and they want to approach the game with their champion picks and everything, the way they want to do their own laning phase. Whoever comes out on top from there, that's the team that I'm like, okay. And also the champion pools, because they have very, very wide champion pools for both those players. So really, really looking at what comes down from there. But that's where my eyes are right now.
I too really like, really like that top lane matchup. And I think that Hoppy Cow has been grinding like none other, specifically to try to oppose Miko here in the top lane. And so I do think it will be a clash of strategies for the two of them. I feel like those are two of all 10 players on field. Those are the two that constantly have like mathematical, like math going on behind their brains, right? Like they're thinking 12 steps ahead. So that is going to be an interesting lane. It might, because of that though, end up being a little bit slow. So me personally, where I am eyeing and where I think a lot of these teams are kind of trying to set themselves up for success is towards that bottom lane. The ADC role is really, really strong right now. There's a lot of priority on some of the champions. It's harder to have an incredibly deep champion pool for ADC right now, I guess is kind of what I'm getting at. So we might see some of that cheese and meat picks, right, being picked up towards the bottom side, trying to get some of these spicy matchups. But again, keep in mind, if you don't do well with the champion the first time, you can't bring it into another game and make up for those failures at all. So Yanni and Smacks on the side of Colon3 or Pringles, whatever we want to call them. And then Zuby Zoomers, it's Idle and Column. Both of these duos have been working insanely hard. And I have seen some of their match history. Both of them have been playing games nonstop with a different champion every time and have seen victory after victory after victory. So that personally is where I am going to have my eyes here. Now, I guess none of us really talked about who, aside from, I guess Regdor mentioned, who is potentially not going to do well. Do we see any lanes, and I'm just going to literally throw this out, whoever wants to talk first, do we see any lanes that just are not probably going to go in the direction of one player? Nobody? You don't want to call anyone out? Now's your chance.
The support players. Both of them are just going to fail.
I think that as Sean did mention, I think that's definitely that could be. I don't want to say it's the weakest role, but I think it could be the most impactful based off of what one support could do and what the other support fails to do. So if we want to put it that way, it kind of goes light, puts it a little bit on a lighter context there. But as you mentioned, the bot lanes are definitely going to be rather interesting to watch for sure.
Cool. And the nice thing about this too is we actually get to do draft. Usually the analyst desk tosses it over the casters, right? But Orbital's like, I want as much airtime for everybody as possible. So we're actually going to be able to cover the draft, kind of go through that, discuss what the compositions are like through that delay before we pass it off to, of course, it's going to be Orbital and RMC, Random Minion Caster. I'm sure you guys are familiar with that duo as they love to work together and have done plenty of things around the collegiate semi-pro scene for the last several years. So I think we're starting with colon 3, if I'm not mistaken, on the blue side. They did end up winning that toss, so they have the decision here. First picks. This is the other thing. I'm going to start with Dylan. What are your guys' what do you think first picks are going to be for either of these teams?
If Seraphine isn't banned, I'd pick a B1, like 100%. Like A, it's a flex pick, right? You can take a support, AD, or even mid lane, depending on how they want to play. And overall, it's a really strong champion, and I think it synergizes well with how they want to play the game. I think that what's going to be really interesting is how deep do the enchanter pools go, considering that enchanters are pretty strong at the moment, and how many different trades are we going to get from like Sivir or a Phelios Jinx, or are we going to see Sona Seraphine, or what kind of center lanes are we going to see? So I think that there's a lot of depth and variety to the bot lane pairings that we could see once a few are taken off the board.
All right. Well, I agree. I think that's the correct answer. I would say Seraphine if I had to pick one. So see, does Sean? Okay, I'm gonna hop right over to Sean because I see him shaking his head and rolling his eyes at me. I'm sorry, Regdor. We'll get back to you. We'll get back to you, Regdor. All right, Sean. What's your first pick here then? Huh? What would you?
My thing is, it's
prefer?
not even so much about first pick; it's which power picks don't get picked by a certain team. Because, like, let's say you get the Seraphine here, but then the other team doesn't pick it till game 3, and then you have a S tier pick of Seraphine going against like Teemo Jungle or whatever it may become. So like it's just how are these draft strategies going to pan out for like when do you want to save X pick? Do you have a certain comp with some A or B tier picks that go together? Seraphine, I think, is a really, really good choice. I think to your point earlier about the 80 carries, those may not be as flexible with like kind of that there is like a echelon that they have here. But then also I think whatever support gets Yumi probably wins. They have less to do, and then they just jump on to like someone like Bayor, and here we go. As Regdor, you can kind of talk about whatever you were going to talk about it since I took it over.
No, I was gonna say that's the thing is like the charcuterie joke was like that's how they're gonna have to play the drafts in my mind is to keep some of those power picks, some of these meta answers kind of in their pocket for later on in the series. I think something like as weird as it may sound, like Ashe is not a bad, game 1 pick. Is it super strong? No, but it's very flexible in the bot lane. We've seen it played as support to much success. It can also be a serviceable like utility ADC as well. And it's just a nice standard open that may not be too overpowered, but doesn't tell what the draft wants to do just yet with that pick.
Yeah, absolutely. That's very good points, because this is actually the first Fearless show match that I've been able to, kind of be part of, I guess. I've watched several of these, but, NA, it's still a new, fresh scene, and so I'm curious
to see. You haven't done the ones in China yet?
No, surprisingly enough, no, I have not been invited for the Chinese. No, unfortunately. The show matches. Hey, we're coming back. Remaking draft on this one really quickly. Apparently, okay, I say that these guys are all like coaches, semi-pro players, whatever. Apparently, they're still figuring out how to utilize the draft function within the client. So you know what, we got to give them
more than you think. Let me tell you.
If I had a nickel for every time I had a player say, "So which side is blue and red?" which is probably stuff that they're talking about right now, I would probably be able to pay off student loans. So it would be, yeah.
Before or after, the whole okay, so before. All right, good to know.
Yeah.
It's okay. It's true. It's true. You'd think with a coach on some of these teams, though, the coach would be like, all right, I've done this before. Let's get to it, right? You'd think Miko has gone through the trials and tribulations of trying to get into draft, and it does appear Zuby Zoomers, I think they got timed out on their band pick. I think that's what happened there. Yeah. Hey, Yumi, that's the other one. Biora is apparently destroying everything. So actually, you know what?
He's
this
truly
is a
living
place to
evil.
bring-
He's living evil.
Truly
He's
living
living
evil.
He's
living
getting
evil.
into
Yep,
it. We're
you called
cosplaying
it.
here, role
Yep,
play.
Dylan jinxed us basically for that live evil. But you know what? Actually, this kind of gives us a chance to talk about some of the fun things because we did a player questionnaire and just sent
Yes.
out some ridiculous questions. One of my favorites that I actually saw, just since we're talking about Biora, is which player in the showdown do you think is most likely to get muted in game? This is requested by production. Biora is by far the name that has been brought up the most. A couple of people said, Dakar, but pretty much everybody says Biora. And I think that this might be one of those things where, hey, we can mute him on our end, right? Everybody has to mute him now just because of this mishap, this mess up that we've got going. So hopefully we can hop right back into the draft and see what happens in game one to kick all this stuff out. What do you say, Sean?
What I love is on the questionnaire, there's a question that says, is there a person you are most excited to face off against? If so, why? And Prussian says that the person is Miko because he's had a lot of respect for him when I was an amateur. I'm sad he's old and washed.
Ooh. All right, that one's got some spicy responses too, just in general, right? You've got Soulpan, who's got a bit of a redemption arc, and I personally have a long, like of all the people here, surprisingly enough, I have the longest connection with Soulpan because I worked for Boise State University when he played on the League of Legends team. I mean, this was like 5 years ago, probably. So he's got a little bit of a potential redemption arc right here that he's talking about. Last time he did this, he was playing for, of course, Disrex's nuts in Kangas Caster Clash. He got knocked out by Smack. So this is basically an opportunity for a redemption arc here for Soulpan to be able to say, okay, Smack, you're up against me again. It might not be the same lane, but I can take you down. And those are my favorites, all right? If you can find anything to give some spice, that's like the least, that's like, the 6 degrees. Like, all right, sure, you like once played up against Smack, so now you get to do it again. But that's more than enough to send these guys forward. And hey, it does look like Senna was the correct ban, and there it is. We were talking about the Seraphine, how good she is first pick. The knowledge is here, held by Zuby Zoomers, as it's banned out here.
Well, I did hear that they had to remake draft 4 times, so maybe a couple of them were watching the stream and were like, "Oh yeah, maybe I forgot about that pick." But all these guys are smart enough to obviously know that. So it'll be, like I had mentioned, it'll be super interesting to see how deep the Enchanter pools go. Like obviously Lulu's still on the table. You have things like Soraka, that's a Wolverine favorite. Check him out on Twitter. And you have a lot of enchanters that are still available up on the board, and that's not even flaming. It's legit. Soraka is legit. Not like I don't know why people keep sleeping, but it's going to be interesting to see how deep these enchanter pools and bot lane pools go.
Yeah, I think one that needs to be kind of watched out for here by Smacks is the Bard. Has been absolutely insane. They've also been taking some crazy stuff into the bottom lane to consider, right? I've seen the Pantheon, I've seen the Vi, I've seen all kinds of stuff that Smacks likes to pull out, and I know that Yanni is an incredibly aggressive player. So no big surprise that they're starting towards the bottom, and that's where most of the focus for these bans have been. On the other side, you've got a lot of jungle as well. Immediately, the Zeri gets locked in right after the Sivir gets picked up here. So, hey, look at this. They learned how to draft, guys.
They are pressing buttons.
Yeah, this is boring. Where's game 2? No, I'm kidding. Pretty standard AD carry matchup right here. Probably going to look for maybe, I don't know if Baora does play the Vi, would probably look to lock it in with one of these two with maybe like, you're talking about the Lulu still available, which would be also a nice takeaway. And there is also stuff like the Renata as well as up.
Yes.
So yeah, there we go.
Yeah, the Renata's a big pick for Colomer, actually. So that might be one that they end up going with the Zeri, for Miko there. It is the Lulu that we talked about. Very, very strong. And when you get the extra shield on top of the Sivir, when you get the Whimsy, the speed boost, right on top of the ability to be able to polymorph somebody out, it does make it a pretty devastating lane.
Yeah, I'd be really surprised. You guys talked about it before, but like Vi would be perfect here. It has been like that quintessential answer to the Zeri, just to have that easy backline access and be able to lock her down. And it's been basically the only reason, not the only reason, but a big reason to pick her. So it would make sense if they had picked it up there on B3. But this is a lot of power picks, what are considered 2 of the strongest, ADs on the current patch, plus now 2 supports and enchanters locked in that are now gone for the rest of the series. So it'll be interesting, depending on who comes away with the win, of how they'll be able to recreate this, because the hard scaling ADCs out there that are kind of in the flavor of the month are less plentiful than before.
Yeah, and it looks like
And one
there are
thing that
already
I
some
think
big
about the
pick. Oh,
Vi
go for
pick.
it.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, one thing I think
Go
about the
for it.
Vi pick is that it's definitely a second rotation pick. I don't think that the teams that are picking it early are doing themselves any favors. So if it does happen to get through second rotation bans here, it's obviously way better for blue side because they're going to be able to still have those power picks in the Mord, the Sivir, the Lulu without having to risk an early pick on the Vi. Because if you pick Vi early, you can kind of draft around it. Believe it, like it's kind of easier to draft around the Vi when you pick her early. Whereas if you're picking her late in the draft, you don't have as much wiggle room, so to speak.
That's a good point. Yeah. And like I said, too, they do have the flexibility, right? Smacks has actually been playing the Vi in the support role a few times, right? Just to try to get a deeper pool. And it has worked. All right. You guys laugh, but the
That's the
Pantheon,
SkyTech special.
that's
Yeah,
seriously
that's what I was gonna say.
yeah, Pantheon and the Vi, it's actually working for this bottom lane. We should also note that this Mordekaiser pick, I would say, is probably the number one pick for Hoppy Cow. So right off the bat, for the top lane here, they are going all guns in. With
Yeah,
no
for sure.
guns,
And
I guess.
I'm really glad that they also banned the Yone away from the car with that jungle Sejuani being able to be flexible between top and jungle. But I think that we're gonna see. So the Jax is really good here for Miko. Interesting there, but I'm still looking for something to like kind of get some lockdown here for this Zeri. I don't want to see Zeri just zap and zooting all across the map. So find something to lock her down for the side of less than 3 or less than 3. Wow. Pringles. Team Pringles.
Team Pringles. Yeah, I
Colon
mean,
3.
and the lockdown, luckily, they have a lot of those opportunities right now. Not just because they've got like the polymorph, right? They have the ability to speed up and get some poke down here, but you've also got the Mordekaiser. When it gets to the team fight stage, which I assume in a fearless show match like this, it's going to be as quick as possible. You just pull the Zeri out into the realm, right? And you're solid in terms of the damage that is being dealt on the side of Colon 3 or Pringles. We're gonna be calling them both of those names, so don't get confused. They both apply here. So I do like the intensity. This is another one of
Wow.
Biora. This is a
Let's
huge
go.
Biora pick. Okay, so this is actually, I gotta say, Colon 3 is putting a lot of investment into picking some really high picks for them, at least in their pools, to be locking in this game number one.
I gotta say, Nocturne is going to be super interesting to see which way Biora goes. There's like this new flavor of the month, which is like insert champion here, give them Bork, give them Sunfire, and they are just broken OP, which may work. I've seen it a bit on Nocturne, but they, like you said, they're really investing with Cassiopeia plus Nocturne to have more lockdown for the Zeri in the teamfight stage, and then be able to just kind of get straight to the back line and execute idle before they're able to stack anything up and become scary Zeri.
And the one thing that people might not necessarily think about a whole lot, like Cassio's a great mid pick, but it actually does a lot to not just Zeri. It also affects Sejuani, and it also affects the Corki that was picked as well, right? So I think that the Cassiopeia pick is going to be a lot more impactful than kind of we're giving the rest of the draft credit for, just based off of that. Hey, like she can control a somewhat large area on the map to be able to prevent Zeri from what she wants to do, or prevent Sejuani from going in, or even prevent Corki from being able to dictate how they want to fight.
I love it. These are all really, really good points. So before we toss it off to the casters, as they are going to bring us into this game number one of this best of 5, I just really quickly want to get, I know we haven't talked about predictions or anything, but I'm going to force you guys to do predictions here for me. So I don't have to, so I just get to make you guys. Dylan, I'm the host. Y'all aren't. So Dylan, what is your prediction on this one? Who do you think is going to come out ahead in game one?
So it's really tough, but I think that given the compositions here, I personally like blue side draft a little bit more. I can see where red side draft wants to play. However, I think that blue side is going to win the game here.
Alrighty, Regdor, how about you?
Yeah, they've got the sensational Sivir, the ludicrous Lulu, the massive Mordekaiser. You have to go with the blue side. That's where I'm going to stop with that alliteration. but I think that's the easy dub for blue side in this game.
All right, Sean, are you going to break that tie? Well, no tie. Are you going to break the? I guess are you going to change?
I have
whatever?
2 votes. Oh God. I'd vote for one each. No. I really like the simplicity of blue side's draft, even though I also think that in my opinion, I like Red Side's draft minus maybe Nick's the Corky, but I think it was just trying to having something a little bit safe into the Casio right
Mhm.
there. I'm I like Red Side's draft better, but I think I'm just going to go with Blue Side because I believe that they're individually stronger. You know what? Screw it. I'm
Yeah.
changing. There's nothing official about this. I'm going to go Red Side because I want to be different, and I believe in the Miko Jacks. So
All right, let's see it. Okay, I'm gonna not even give you guys a chance to ask what my prediction is. I'm tossing it to casters. Random mini caster
Hey, what's
Orbital,
your-
take it away. Shh.
Thank you very, very much. Welcome, everyone, to the casters here. We aren't as pretty as the analyst desk, but we hope to be just as fun. It's the Asian invasion here with Orbital and RMC. We will be cruising along to bring you game number 1. Thank you, everyone, to tuning in here. RMC, I see the dumpster fire in the background. We got to start with that one first. You can't think it's going to be that bad, right?
This is a best of 5 Orbital. If we go the full 5 games, I don't know if people are going to start running out of champions there. That's by the 5th game, 20 champions off the table, plus another 5 bans, 25 champions here. I'm just waiting for teams to get to game 5 and just target ban one person so that they that's 9 champions off the board for them.
Yeah, and we did talk about it a little bit to some of the players. I had mentioned it, of course, or it was mentioned on the analyst desk. But a big thing is, of course, these players are somewhat, kind of a respect style of you are supposed to stay in your lane. So if you pick up a random champion, kind of has to go in that lane. If you're locked down and one of your teammates can play Seraphine, but it's only in jungle. Good luck with Seraphine jungle. I mean, hey, good for you. I don't know, but that's kind of how it goes. That's the best part about it all, though. I think is this is going to be entertaining. But for the start, we did hear some of the predictions. Blue side feeling a bit stronger there in terms of some of the champions being selected here. That is, of course, going to be Team Pringles. On the flip, though, Zuby Zoomers got some of their own medicine to work with.
Yeah, Orbital, one of the best things about having such a stacked analyst desk there is that as a color caster, I can be no thoughts hit empty and just go with whatever you're talking about here. They broke it down perfectly. We know Pringles here on the blue side, simple draft, really solid front to back team fighting. Zuby Zoomers a little bit more complicated. They do have tools of their own here. And I think a lot of it too will just come down to individual player skill. One of the best parts is when players kind of know each other well and don't play together too often, we get some really weird, screwy matchups to come through. Game 1 has been fairly standard with draft, and so I'm expecting a fairly standard game. But as we go deeper in Orbital, when we start seeing pocket pigs come out, that's when I think I'm going to get really excited in this series here.
Yeah, and that's the hope. Now, again, it could be a little bit of a ways to get there, right? So the reason that we say that is there are numerous ways, I know, to do Fearless Draft. I believe we have seen LS draw out a very large style, which was I think the hardcore Fearless drafting system of Full 5, which is you ban out all champions banned and picked on both sides are completely locked out. So by game 5, you have a brand new 10 champions that you have never seen overall. I said that might be a little bit tough for, casters, analysts, and all those that don't play the game as often and can only play, 3 or 4 champions, maybe not go that hard. But it is a very real reality that this is going to maybe test some of these players to the utmost limit. So that's going to be very, very fun to see. Your prediction, though, RMC, let's go ahead and get some predictions running in here. Yes, you get to predict just like everyone else. We'll get Jollies later, too. But, of course, where do you think this is going to land? Overall, I mean, yeah. We're doing this to you.
I'm supposed to be no thoughts hit empty today. Come on, bro. You know what? I think I'm with Sean on this. I'm going to go Zuby Zoomers a little bit here. I do like the drop that they've pulled out here. I especially like the Corky coming out here. I think Corky is going to be the big difference maker. I think Team Pringles might struggle a little bit to actually reach that Corky's range. Likewise with that Zeri here. And while I do think Nocturne's a really strong pickup, I don't know about... I feel like he has as easy access as the backline as a Vi does to be able to punish this Zeri, and with the Renata especially, I think things are going to get really complicated really quickly here for this Nocturne. So for those reasons, I'm going to pick Zuby Zoomers. Now, keep in mind, the player skill is going to matter a lot. Well, I know a lot of these people by their names, and I know how big their craniums are. I don't know how good their fingers are here. And if there's anything I've learned, sometimes coaches and casters, you know what you're supposed to do, but your hands won't do it. So to me, game 1 is a bit of a hands check coming through.
It reminds me of all the days where was it? It was I forgot what it was. It was a nice little copy pasta. You know, first off, you try and be a player. If you can't be a player, you be a coach. If you can't be a coach, you be an analyst. And if you can't be an analyst, then you be a caster. Right? We're pretty far down the list there. So it is going to be a challenge there, and I love that fact that it is pointed out. Again, this is for the entertainment. You know, a lot of these players came out and said, hey, you know what? I'm going to put myself out here on the spotlight, give it our best shot. A lot of these people are also having a lot of fun, you know, playing on their own side. I do believe we have a couple personal channels as well if you do want to tune into some of the POVs and take a look at some of that. So I'll go ahead and shout it out here. I believe on Team Pringles, we do have, nope, I lied, not Team Pringles because I'm a little bit slow in the head, even though I made this all. It does not mean I'm good at this. Zuby Zoomers currently have 2 broadcasts running here for their personal channels. We do have Idol, who is the ADC. Of course, content creator trying to build out their own platform. And then, of course, Columner is streaming their matches as well. So go ahead, find them on Twitch if you want some inline columns, get an idea of what these players are trying to do and how poorly it might be going. We don't know. That's the best part about it. So I believe game will be getting underway here shortly. Now we get to talk about my favorite part of this all. RMC, another question for you. Where do we see some of this kick off? What lane do you see kicking off first? Or where do we see, even better, the first mistake?
Oh boy. Okay. So where the action's gonna be overall, I don't know, but my eyes are on this bot lane because we're hearing a lot of trash talk from this bot lane here. Out Collimer wants to take out Yenny. Yenny's probably gonna end up tilting Smacks. I don't know what's going on, and then you've just got Ido chilling, doing everything. So I am just watching this bot lane here. For all that they're saying, I want to see Smacks and Collimer get hyper aggressive. Look for those kills early. I don't care that you're an enchanter.
Hello. Oh, that was listen, I enjoy myself just like everyone else, but I am not photogenic at the least, so I do apologize to everyone that got jump scared there. Please, that will not happen often, I promise there. So, taking a look here, we do get to take a look at the lane allocations here, and some interesting factors, which is number 1, Prussian and Yanni have both said, I don't like anything that's being brought down here. Can I please get out of here? The cleanse.
There is a lot of CC potentially coming out of Sulpan here, and I've heard that Sulpan does play a lot of Sejuani. So again, you know, it's that sort of safety to come out. It does work against a hostile takeover as well. So you know, just a lot of making sure they don't die. For Yenny, I kind of wonder if it's overkill. You do have that spell shield already, so spell shield and cleanse. Yes, you're going to be one of the big carries on your team, so I kind of understand why you want to stay safe. But not having the exhaust, the heal to really handle that Zeri later might mean some of the 1v1s might actually end up swinging the way of that Zeri.
Yeah, and considering Zeri, Idol actually said, hey, listen, I'm going to go ahead and try and power through this, right? You went for the Ghost as well. This is a very aggressive Zeri style combined with that... excuse me, with that Renata in the bot lane. So the chase down potential is even worse, right? Like, combined with the fact that you don't have exhaust, it's full-on runaway as fast as you can for Yanni and Smack. So taking a look there, we'll see how that one plays out. In the mid lane, of course, Prussian and Dakar, both these players setting up nicely for their scaling into the mid to late game.
Yeah, and in the early stages at least, Cassio is going to be fairly comfortable in this matchup. You do out-damage the Corki, and most importantly, Corki doesn't outrange you just yet. As the game goes on, you know, Decker is just trying to survive the laning phase, hit that level 6, begin buying your items. In fact, I was actually just told by Joshi earlier this morning that Corki, you know, no longer for poke do you build that Luden's Echo fairly early on. Instead, it's better for you to do Ravenous Hydra, and then Luden's maybe 3rd, 4th item. Oh, Prussian doesn't know. So bad, he didn't pull the trigger.
No, didn't pull the trigger and actually walked away. So Prussian has no idea what's going on. I mean, I think we call that the first mistake of the game, right? You walk so close. No, I'm kidding. Sulpan, please don't hurt me. Taking a look here though. Prussian, though, because of that, has gotten a massive HP advantage here. 3 Fangs into a poison target. Dakar going, man, this Corki's running out of gas. I might have to go refill up.
Sheesh, if Prussian had run Ignite there, or even Ghost to run down Decker, I think Decker, that would at least have been the flash blown there. As it stands, though, Decker still has to be very, very careful. You can see how scared he is, how worried he is to step up. And, hey, Sulpan was in the area. Sulpan can go back down to that mid lane to help out top lane, though. Miko looks like he might need a little bit of help sooner rather than later here. So Sulpan being dragged around everywhere.
But you know what happens whenever a lane gets pushed up? The jungler comes to visit, but Hoppy has a beautiful HP advantage. Sulpan going in to get the first auto attack, trying to draw aggro, gets a stun, ups Miko Miko jumps in and is going to draw the flash, but into the Counter-Strike flash himself. Miko with first blood, as clean and as simple as you can get it. Sulpan actually drawing the minions out even to perfectly freeze that wave.
Is nobody taking that massive... Okay, there we go.
Yeah.
I was like, wait a second. Yeah, Miko is going to come back to lane without full health, though. He will be able to eat up that massive wave. And that looks kind of weird to me. Like, the minions didn't actually aggro Miko or Sulpan that hard, which surprised me. I thought the minion wave would do a little bit more early on. But, well, they didn't PayPal me enough, so I guess the minions aren't going to do the work. For now, though, Miko going to really enjoy that. Early Sheen as well here. Is it enough to handle a level 6 Mordekaiser? I'm not 100% sure, but it should be nice up till that point.
I mean, considering Hoppy went back and decided to opt for the cloth and boots, right? Saying, hey, immediate defensive, I'm not going to get as much damage as I want early on. It has some value to it, right? It has some value hidden in there. Miko, though, already going to have, I think, a decent level advantage. Or not decent level advantage, I'm very, very sorry. Because that was a massive way built in. So keep eyes on that one. Whoever hits level 6 first is going to have some fun.
Fair enough. Is all chat enabled, Orbital, in these games?
I hope so. I hope so. I did tell them, by the way, that emotes are fully enabled. So, like, if they want to spam over someone's body and League of Legends teabag, if you so will, they are absolutely allowed to.
Man, because like, especially in that top lane between Hafakao and Miko right here, like you heard Jolly say that these guys are some of the most calculated players on the map on the Rift right now. So I kind of want to see like Miko like trash talk here, you know, Hafakao like, oh, you didn't expect my plan, my jungle coming out to help me didn't work there, and see like if they can kind of tote each other. For now though, Sulpan gonna take advantage of that top side prio, that pressure, invade a little bit here, and because Biora did show on that bot wave, Sulpan knows this is scot-free right here. He doesn't have to worry about any sort of defense.
It says Sejuani invading, right? Like, what has Season 12 come to, right? Like, it used to be Sejuanis were the ones getting pushed in, getting invaded or anything of the sort. And now we have a Sejuani invading against a Nocturne. Like, what has League come to, RMC?
And this season, we've had top Sejuani invading jungles. You don't even need Smite. If you have Smite, go for it, especially Nocturne. Pre-6, he's going to struggle to actually duel out Sejuani. She specializes, excels in handling melee champions. Yeah, you got the spell shield from Nocturne, but still, trying to fight long-term against Sejuani is rough. Not to mention, Biora still hasn't gone back to shop yet. He's now only picked up the Iron Spike whip, so even if he did walk into the jungle, Sulpan ain't afraid of no Nocturne.
Sulpan's just like, hey, actually, can you come to me? I really, really want to test my damage output. Level 6, though, being joined in here as Dakar is going to dance it out a bit and not enjoy that fact. So this mid lane is getting spicy. So far, both mid laners kind of stuck around the halfway HP point, and Smack's roaming up even saying, hey, gonna get some wards down. Make sure my mid laner's safe and we don't run into any funny business.
Yeah, Prussian doing a great job. That is a significant CS discrepancy between both these mid laners here. And even though Decker is now level 6 and has the missiles there, he still does have to be careful about how much damage he takes. The missiles don't do that much damage till he really completes the Mira mana here. And we are seeing Team Pringles, you know, walk in, get that vision.
Oh no, no! Are you kidding me? All right.
We talk about vision too.
Yeah. So we talked about mistakes, right? This is. Are you kidding me? Prussian, Bjorn, you both walked over. Come on, man.
Oh man, you're paranoid himself. He just couldn't see. Both of them just.
They just didn't care. They just both walked away.
That's actually a pretty critical point too. Like on the map, it does control a lot of vision, that one pixel push there. So we'll have to see if Team Pringles regrets it. I was wondering if they were setting up to potentially make that dragon play. We are approaching 8 minutes. Herald's about to spawn here, and neither team has gone for dragon just yet. I personally actually think that dragons are pretty important in the current meta. They just buffed all the dragons, right? So they're worth a lot more. And with the way the game goes, the early plate gold often isn't enough to close a game out either. But for Team Pringles, I guess they're just waiting still for Biora to hit 6, and then maybe you look for a pick. If you find a kill onto Columnar or Idol, that really sets up a much easier dragon with numbers advantage.
Oh yeah, and I mean, like, we're looking at Zuby Zoomers here. I mean, they made one mistake. Surely they won't make another, right? Like, oh wait, no, that's not Zuby Zoomers. Team Pringles. Ah, I made a mistake. Zuby Zoomers have actually gone for this Rift Herald, but it is on a ward. So this is all right. So both teams have missed a ward now, and it's gonna get a bit spicy. In comes the Nocturne Paranoia. Biora drawing off line of sight, but it is gonna get stolen. Smack you, Matt! The Lulu got it. Run away as fast as you can. Mercy get run down. The Nocturne is dead. Prussian's dead. The Zeri is popping off here. Smacks, you may have stolen the Herald, but you cost them your lives. Your Sulpin lives with 10 HP, and boy, oh boy, is that an ace.
Oh my goodness, Zuby Zoomers out of absolutely nowhere yet. Like you said, they lost the Herald there, but they're able to find so much more. And in the meantime, while all this is happening, Yenny just in that bot lane, moisturized, happy, ignoring the rest of the team dropping dead. Is just looking to farm up and scale. It's a good idea, but I'm not sure you're going to be able to match the 3 kills Idol just picked up.
Oh my gosh. And I called an ace because I saw 5 kills. It's not. It was 4-0 and just brutal to watch, right? Watching that rundown happen. And I can't believe the fact that Colomer actually lived through all that, by the way. Hoppy grabbed Colomer, a support that was at half HP, and you still don't get the kill. Like, are you... What's going on here? I don't know. But... that is disgusting, right? Miko and Idol both sitting with a massive amount of kills in their back pocket. Of all things that's going to happen here, this is looking a bit dangerous here.
Yeah, that's it. I do feel like we should highlight some of the hero plays Team Pringles had, because I think their mechanics in the fight were actually really good. The fact that Smacks on a support here on the loop outsmited both the junglers to steal the Herald away here. Prussian as well had the best ultimate there to disengage. Everybody dodged out Sulpan's Glacial Prison. Then they all ran out of mana. It was like, oh, great play. Oh, guys, wait, we can't. Oh, shoot. We need to get out, guys. Like, if they had mana, I actually think Team Pringles could have won it. But now, with 5 kills in their pocket, Zuby Zoomers, they're ready to beast mode this year. They're going to go for Dragon. They're going to force another fight here if Team Pringles wants it. And for Team Pringles, I almost feel like, just let this one go, man. Like, don't walk into this one just yet.
I mean, they stole it once. Surely they can't steal again, right? Like, that's what's going on in their minds. Right now, though, it does seem like it's not going to be slowed down at all. 2K, it is going to be granted over to the favorite of Zuby Zoomers. They pick up the first dragon, and second is going to be the Infernal. So a Mountain Dragon and an Infernal Dragon to kick things off. Soul is still up in the air. I am still sad, though, because we would not be able to see the, isn't it Chemtech still that is coming back? I'm so sad we aren't getting that.
I am so glad it's not back in.
Two polarizing opinions here.
I hated Chemtech so much when it was in the game. I know they're changing it, so I want to see those numbers before we start saying anything. The map I've been really happy with is Hextech, and we might still get that one. Gates are always fun here. And meanwhile, Herald dropped into the mid lane early here. I don't know. Well, Prussian had it here, so Prussian will get the gold. I think that's the one lane you can kind of play around, especially with Biora with that paranoia as well, being able to hunt down Decker if he runs. Even if he flashes, you'll chase him down. So for Team Pringles, look at the mid lane, man. I think that's the lane you've really got to start playing through to drag yourself back into the mid game.
Oh, yeah. Just give it your best shot. Just wait around as best as possible. I mean, taking a look here, Dakar already. Decker filling in and saying, listen, I got to hold on. Happy cow, though. Miko's about to feel the burn. A final wall up, the individual damage. Hoppy, I mean, we said that we wanted to see some of the emotes, and I hope our observer does have emotes on. I want to see it so bad. I want to see these guys start emoting on each other and having a ball.
Yeah, if anybody's has the players in their friends list, message them more emotes. Yes. I don't think we've seen a single emote so far come out, which is very much sad. Yanni fighting with Colomer here, and Colomer in a 1v2 face-off, so he's become a 3v2.
Yeah, that's a little bit of a pain, and of course Biora prepping for that hostile takeover. An easy cleanup, but Idol getting chased down. Guess who else is here? But look at that, the Zeri. I mean, we all love Zeri, right? Just after Aphelios, 300 years of experience right there.
Fair and balanced champion indeed. Zeri just got nerfed again this patch, and still she looks incredibly good. That's just nasty, but well played from Team Pringles. Good collapse. I was actually thinking, Culver's playing with fire here, stepping up trying to 1v2. Yes, Max is really low on health, but he's an enchanter. He doesn't need to frontline this. Yenny could just run at you and try and run you down, but they brought back up as well, and we're saying, hey, Team Pringles needs to try and come back in. It's not the mid I was calling for, but it works. You still got yourself a kill. That's one way to get back in the game. The question is, did you lose anything on the other end? Sulpan says yes.
Yeah, this is gonna feel good. And Sulpan says, hey, I might have found a very sneaky snake. Prussian throwing out the ulti and completely whiffs. Or I wouldn't even say whiffs. Decker with a very nice sidestep there. Knew what was coming and picks up the kill.
Yeah, Decker playing at edge of range as well. I don't even think he actually got tagged with the slow. He was just out of range, and that's the Corki advantage we're talking about here. Still no mirror banner though. Decker did take a side trip to pick up that Hex Drinker early here, and I think that's a great item. It gives all the stats you want, and again, you know, we're talking about the change to the missiles here for Corki. He scales better off AD now than he does AP, so you know, picking up that Maw of Malmortius second item, or I was going to say first item, but I guess in Mirror Mana has to be first. Maw of Malmortius second item still gives you quite a decent damage boost to your missiles.
I still resent the fact that Corki is still the one champion, I think. I guess one or two that can build no mythic, no legendary. Mythic? Legendary? Hey, I'm a caster.
Mythic.
Mythic and be okay, right? Just still legendaries all the way around. It is ridiculous. Hoppy Cow, though, been doing so well. Been doing extremely well on the top side, and is now getting a visit from Collimer and Sulpin, possibly. In comes the Realm of Death. Miko doing a perfect job of the bait.
Oh.
This is going to be brutal. Hoppy comes out of the realm, realizes their own mistake, gets under the tower, and immediately killed. But guess who's coming? The gang squad is here. This is gonna be it. Look at the powerhouse moves. Hostile takeover does literally nothing. The rest of the Team Pringles says, gimme your deaths. Gimme your lives. That will be a 1 for 3 that Zoomy Zoomers were not expecting.
Beautiful trap there by Team Pringles to beat. I actually thought, oh no, like Hoppy Cow was fine in that top lane. Like, it's trying to dive a Mordekaiser is incredibly difficult. Trying to gank a Mordekaiser is incredibly difficult. He has Death Realm, then he used it on Miko, and I was like, oh, this is going to end up terribly. Nope, he baited all of us, casters included. Unfortunately for the side of Pringles though, Zoomy Zoomers, they got 2 turrets in all of that. Both the outer turrets in the mid and bot lane here. So total gold still favors Zoomy Zoomers. It's just the mental aspect in that top lane here, which I think Pringles really well out of.
Yeah, it was so good and beautifully done. Idol trying to steal it away. Oh, so close. Bior said, listen, I ain't Sulpin. Don't worry. I'm not Sulpin. I won't lose it. I got it. Don't worry.
Bro, what did Sulpin do to you?
Literally nothing. I don't know what's going on here. I don't know. I'm so sorry.
Hey, Smacks took away Herald even from Biora, man. That's not just on Sulpan. That was just Smack supremacy here. Zoomy Zoomers, no problem. No Herald. We'll go straight for Dragon. We'll stack that instead here. They're going to be first there and first out here. And Team Pringles, no reaction whatsoever. It's not quite the Hex Gate. Oh, Prussian?
Oh, this is Prussian's time to say, hey, I want to get a little bit of speed back. And again, remember, Prussian was the one that was actually taking over the mid lane to a decent extent in the early stages. So to be able to roam up to the top side, try and get some pressure on Miko, the Cassiopeia is just starting to gain a little bit of traction.
Yeah, and you look at the CS numbers, especially between Prussian and Miko. The top laners here, Hoppy Cow and Miko, their CS numbers are pretty low, actually, which surprises me, considering that we didn't see a ton of action in that top side. So Prussian's able to win that out, but I think Prussian's also trying to avoid the Dekar lane right now. Corki is going to become an issue, and the Mirror Mana here is almost fully stacked as well. Once it does convert, then Prussian's really going to struggle, and that's when I think this composition, this is why I favored Zoomy Zoomers a little bit when I looked at their draft, because I think the range advantage here is going to force Team Pringles to have to make some really risky moves to be able to find wins in these team fights.
It's going to be a challenge for them, of course, but what they have done very well is mitigating those early game deaths, so at least they don't have that hanging over their heads as well. 5-7 is that score, moving into the last 2 minutes before Baron is going to spawn, and teams get to decide if they want to get funny with it or if they just want to play safe. Hoppy Cow, 112 CS, already has that eye built in. Has that very lovely Rift Maker ready to go, but Sulpin, another player that we've seen so far, keeping up inside of those participation routes. 6 of 7 kills built in so far.
Yeah, high KP, what you love to see from your jungler, and that soon is looking to increase here as Prussian has already burnt the Petrifying Gaze.
Oh, this is a painful move right here. This is just brutal to watch. The snake is absolutely beaten into the ground. Miko gets a 3rd kill for the Jacks.
Yep, and they're trying to answer back here in the mid lane. Herald being dropped, but I'm worried for Team Pringles. The TP coming in.
TP is coming in, but Yanni says, I'm out, I'm done, I don't want to deal with anything here. You get the tower, you're happy about it, but you burned Flash and the ultimate. Ultimate not so much, but I mean, the Flash feels kind of bad.
I mean, they all got out. I think that's robbery here. Biora is deep behind enemy lines. Can he get the recall off?
Oh!
Yes, he does. They got vision with the Scryer's Bloom here. They just weren't able to quite find enough. Now, Kalmar, you have to be careful here. You are a support. That is a Mordekaiser.
Oh, it is, but guess who else is here? The car said, hey, gimme, gimme, gimme. The rocket's powering through the HP bars. Gets a little bit of a speed up from Colomer. The heal comes in, though, from the redemption. And Smack said, get off my top laner. I love this. The early redemption build. First time redemption, even. But guess now, on the other side, we're getting a little bit of extra flavor. Over the wall, the Zeri goes to the rest of the team. Nobody knows. Biora now getting chased down. Hostile takeover. Gonna keep them all in lane, and Idol says, gimme all those kills. One more zap will do it.
Oh my goodness.
The chase is absolutely ridiculous.
Holy. Okay, so first off, I'm such a Smax's build. Building the redemption first. I think that's absolutely brilliant. I can't remember who was posting on Twitter about the fact that, I think it was probably Wolverine, about how, you know, redemption's a better item than most support mythics right now. Off you go.
Oh, Idol got grabbed and is now going to get chased around. This is... that hurts. Yeah, that's a feels bad moment right there.
It is what it is, man. I don't props you for actually delaying it by even getting over that wall. Selpan still punishing that top side, pushing in with the wave. So yeah, redemption. It just gives you more here. The healing is better than a Moonstone Renewer. It gives you that little extra bit of burst of damage as well if you can land it. That particular case, it probably kept Hoppy Cow alive from that chase down from Decker there. If Decker wanted to flash, probably would still been able to convert it, but opted not to. So I absolutely love that pickup. We'll have to see how much more utility it has for this team. And another interesting item buy is Decker picking up that lost chapter here. We were touching on the fact that, hey, Ludens isn't that efficient anymore. The AP ratio isn't really worth it. It's really the magic penetration. So picking up third item or fourth item is actually more efficient here. We're not seeing the multiple mortars completed. So yeah, picking up a little bit early. Is it going to matter? I don't know. Decker is hurting already with just that mirror mana thus far. So it might just be a minor point, and if Decker can maintain range and still poke for free like that, then the Corki will be fine.
Yeah, Corki's going to be happy. You can already see, I mean, talked about, you know, hey, maybe the AD route is a little bit better. Dakar said, nah. We're still going that Ludens route, still going for that long-range poke. I don't want to do anything with Prussian right now, so this is going to be the challenge. Taking a look, though, it is Zuby Zoomers with 2 dragons to their name. It is an Ocean Soul to be played for here. And this is going to be one of a few tests that Team Pringles are going to try and play with. Solpen going in, though, said Biora and Smax are nothing to be worried about. With a package coming in on the back end as well, this does feel like it's a shoe-in for the Zuby Zoomers.
Well, Team Pringles still has vision, and as I say that, it gets denied by that pink here. So yeah, they definitely have a better track for it right now. Pringles just trying to get in there.
Yeah, Pringles have, and feels like they might have found an option. Prussian on the back end flanking, and they are going to draw the Corki out, so it's a split fight. That's a huge petrifying gaze. They catch one, they catch Miko. What else can they get? Hostile takeover draws them all the way, but Hoppy is able to grab Solpen. They draw him in, they get the kill, and down goes the death. But Idol in the back line says, give me all the gold, give me all the kills. Let me try. No, the rest of Team Pringles says is not enough, at least for right now. The dragon was taken by Team Pringles. Idol said, listen, we might have lost the objectives, but we are no strangers to kills. That's a triple kill. That's a quadra. He is looking for the penta. A game freaking one, Idol. Dancing all you can. You go hit the side just to bait. Oh, they're going to look for it. Idol flies. It's a penta kill. Idol, the unknown mystery, makes it an ace for Zuby Zoomers.
10-1-0 right here. The Zeri pickup from Idol. We were joking about the fact that Smax wants to kill Colomer, Colomer wants to kill Yanni, and meanwhile Idol is just focused on winning the game here. It kind of has panned out that way. Idol, the big victor out of all of this in Orbital. The other thing to remember too is Fearless dropped. We see that Sivir, which is right now #1 AD carry globally, picked up by Pringles. If they lose with this pick here, it's got to be in the back of the mind that, hey, later on, there's still the Sivir option for the side of Zuby Zoomers. If we lost with it already, can we pick the Zeri and play into it? Globally, that hasn't been the counter. If anything, Sivir is considered the answer to Zeri globally.
Yeah, that's a scary thought to have to work with here. And with Baron on the table now, it's 24 minutes crawling forward. this is a dicey situation with that pentakill. You can go ahead and see Idol picked up 3 completed items, has a Vamp Scepter in the back pocket, so already building past so many other members on the side of Team Pringles. 2 items max, right? 2.5 is what we're looking at, so already a step above. Huge question marks right now for the rest of the squad. Where do they go from here? Where does Biora and squad get to work with? Well, apparently not that far away. This is a painful time. Tries to jump to the back line, but even drew Prussian in. Prussian gets a very, very nice Petrifying Gaze off, but it might only delay the double. You drew the rest of the team in. Yadi has to burn the cleanse and the flash to just stay alive. Hoppy Cow goes in, trying to get a kill. Colomer might be on the chopping block. It is going to wither away, but it is only going to be 1. Hoppy Cow now gets absolutely decimated by the remaining members of Zooey Zoomers.
Oh my goodness, vision here, Orbital. They have spotty vision on the side of Team Pringles here. They kind of knew people in the jungle. They didn't know where, and Biora rounded the corner right into the entirety of Zooey Zoomers. Prussian survived way more than I thought he would, and Prussian's Casio has been the one bright shining light. The problem is, yeah, you're winning all the fights, you're killing all the people you can reach, but the people you can't reach, like Idol, like Deca here, they're the ones carrying the fight right now, and with Baron in their pocket, Zooey Zoomers, they're in a great position to look to crack the base here.
Oh man, they are building up an absolute force to work with, and the only thing I'm sad about is we don't get to see this team play this composition again, right? This is the only time we will see them play these 5 champions. They are not allowed to pick it again for the remainder of the series, and that's kind of what they're banking on. So, I mean, it's great to come out with the game number 1. I want to see if they can do it for game number 2 as well, right? We got to see some other champions built in there. 2-0-8 on Dakar. Idol sitting on that massive 12-1-1. 2-2-9 on Solpin, and Miko on that 3-4-4. Poor Colomer, no kills in the bucket, but as they usually should, 12 assists so far has been pivotal in some of these fights.
I mean, last time we looked, Sulpan was the highest kill participation on his team, right? And now Colomer has caught up. Idol actually outstripping all of them here. And Miko, I want to highlight something about Miko. We see the top laners, the CS numbers have been pretty rough this game here. And Miko's skill participation hasn't been amazing. But that last fight, Miko has the most tactical Jax I've seen there. They used him as a stun bot. He just flash jumped in, got a 3-man stun off. Sure, it's not the damage you expect from a Jax. It's not the 1v1 dueling. But hey, if it works for a team fight, we take that.
It's the unexpected CC that comes out of nowhere. You're just like, all right, I give you props for that. Good on you, right? It's just, it's weird to think how this can all play out. Colomer, though, realizing that, hey, I didn't actually get my recall off, is now going to have to walk away. The rest of the team, though, dancing their way forward. This is Team Pringles saying, okay, we might have lost game 1. And this is the crazy thing about Fearless, right? We got to talk about this a bit more. Just because you lost game 1 does not mean that this is what you have to face down for game 2.
Well, they haven't lost yet.
Okay. Listen. That's fair. Okay, I give you that one.
I have faith in the Prussian supremacy that he'll get these one big team fight here. I don't know if he'll win, but his team fights have been looking pretty clean. So
what is it? Listen, you didn't win, but I got that clip. You saw that clip, right? That's what we're looking for here. 4-6-1 on the Cassiopeia, but as you said, maybe we get to see kind of that mid to late game situation occur that grants Team Pringles that chance, right? Of course, right now we do see the 3rd dragon being taken, 4th for the entirety of the game. Zooey Zoomers stacking that one up nicely as well.
Nico running away. Actually still split pushing quite effectively. I was worried Nico would have struggles trying to split push into the enemy team. If anything, I want to see Dakar actually split push with this Corki here. Now, 3 items completed for himself. We've seen him carry quite a few of these fights, and I'm actually not sure anybody can match him. If Hoppy Cow drags him to Death Realm, I almost feel like this Corki right now would beat the Mordekaiser in the 1v1. You've got enough items for it. Do we get to test it here? Not quite, because Colomer and Idol are backing him up.
I mean, a majority share of that damage is forcing Hoppy to run away. Dakar, we give Dakar that one, say, hey, yep, that was the Corki coming online. 3 items right now, and is an absolute monster to deal with. Bot lane now gonna be the main priority for these squads, and now the lasers are gonna keep zapping through. All 4 members bearing down right now. The 4-man gang squad forcing the flash out of Smacks. This is feeling pretty rough here. Zooey Zoomers zooming their way to crack the base here through the bot lane. Hoppy Cow joining in to try and help out, but look at that long-range damage just poking down Team Pringles.
Yeah, and that's a Corki. He can do that all day long here. If you ever step up, Sultan is ready to go. And really, for Zuby Zoomers, there's nothing else like kind of pressing for them here. Miko is holding pressure on the top side, so they should be able to win every and any team fight that breaks out elsewhere.
Oh, but they did send a player over to that mid lane. They sent the Mordekaiser to that mid lane, and that meant that Solpen can tank up the tower. Inhibitor is going to fall on the bot side. First inhibitor cracked for the Zuby Zoomers.
And where is Hoppy Cow going here? Just pushing up that mid lane. Can he even get the turret? He's not building the Nashor's build, which is sort of that split push Mordekaiser build here. Smack's just dropping the Redemption, trying to get some vision. And that's going to tell Hoppy Cow that, hey, you're safe. They're quite a ways away. They didn't catch Idol, and okay, I know Dakar can probably handle Hoppy Cow 1v1. I'm not so sure right now.
That's a question we'll leave to the imaginary realm right now, right? I don't think anyone wants to test that.
I mean, he's really fed. He's really fed.
He's fed, but I mean, we'll hold off. We'll hold off on that one just for now here. Taking a look though, this is going to be the tower still left up in the mid lane. Bot lane is cracked, so that will have to be something that Team Pringles will try and deal with. But that's a very early call here on the zap and on the hostile takeover. But it doesn't matter. The kill comes through. HP bar is a little bit low though, so with this 4-man squad, they're not sure if they want to follow through. On the hunt is called in. Hopping out looking for someone to grab, but that huge rocket means that Team Pringles are absolutely shredded. Once again, Sulpen comes in on the backline and misses out on the Glacial Prison, but it does not matter. The final rocket lands on the backside of Prussian, and Yanni is absolutely killed. Ace for the Zuby Zoomers as they Zuby Zoom their way to the bot lane into Game 1 end.
Well, Orbital, you know what they say about Pringles? Once you pop, you can't stop. And unfortunately, that happened in that last fight. One goes down. Oh, it goes down here. And huge props to Zuby Zoomers taking this game one. Smaxers respawn, trying to Quake clear with Redemption here. Oh my, one rocket, 1/3 of his health.
Yeah, this is, listen, we're going to get copyright strikes, so before that, this is Game 1 going the way of Zuby Zoomers here. Congratulations to the Game 1, but there is so much more to see. 24-12, it was a fantastic show to kick things off, but now we get to see the teams try and draw out 5 brand new champions. So let's go ahead, throw it over to the analysts and see what they have to say about this game.
All right. Okay, safe to say that Sean was right. All right. We'll just put it out there, okay? We know it wasn't recorded or anything like that. But that was it was not official. It's true. There is no recording. There is no official. That's actually been cut already from the VOD. We do have quite a bit to break down from that game number 1, though, and I think the thing that most of us were watching towards the end of the game was the Corki and the Zeri, right? So I'm actually going to pass it over to Regdor because we got him cut off in the last one. What are your takeaways here? What do you think Zuby Zoomers need to do moving forward? What do you see really that stood out, maybe that worked well or poorly for them?
Well, something that works out really great for them is the fact they don't have to deal with Zeri ever again in their life. It's actually just been deleted from the video game. So that's really useful in this series, I think. The thing that if I'm Zuby Zoomers going into this next game is really has to be around the jungle mid, Sulpan and Takar. Opposite side. Fiora and Prussian.
That's my mistake.
Because Prussian had a disgusting lead. Was absolutely controlling that lane, and then there was a bit of a fiesta up by the Rift Herald, and then that just completely bails out Deckard. He is able to catch up in the lane and then get to this point where, as we saw, the big ones still hurt. They say it's nerfed. It doesn't feel that way if you're an ADC player like me and half your health goes away. I think Smacks could also attribute to that. So I think really playing around what looks to be like an advantage in the mid lane, in the early laning phase, and having Biora really get involved there early and start snowballing that a little bit out of control and allow Prussian to use this flash maybe in the next game in some useful ways. I think that would be a pretty great start.
Whoo, shots fired. I like the spicy analyst desk. All right, I'm gonna hand it off to Dylan for this one. Same kind of question, right? What do you think, I guess, that Pringles or Colon 3 can work on moving forward? What worked really well for Zuby Zoomers? What did you like? What didn't you like? Mm-hmm. Yep. Oh, Dylan's muted.
I was
if you made-
muted. I was muted. Oh my goodness.
Everything
Oh
he
wow.
said was
Everything I said
absolutely
was
perfect.
yeah,
It
so
was
true.
amazing.
So yeah, a
The
little bit
best
of
advice.
a little bit of tech difficulty on my part. My apologies.
And now you won't know who
so
wins Worlds.
yeah, exactly. I spoiled the script. Sorry, guys. So realistically, it's having a little bit better of a setup. Like you could see,
Mhm.
as soon as that 6 minute mark hit the red side, I think it was Zuby Zoomers. They had a clear plan on what they wanted to do around Herald.
Mhm.
Shift bot lane to mid, still put pressure on the map that way, and make sure that they had a solid movement to Herald. Whereas blue side, they didn't necessarily have the they reacted a little bit too late. They had to play more reactive rather than proactive, which when you have a
Mhm.
nocturne and realistically you want to play a little bit more proactive in my opinion. But hey, I'm a silver analyst, so who knows?
All right. Well,
Me too.
hey, I agree. I agree with all that. Before you unmuted yourself, really, it was absolute magic. Just the words coming out. But I do think that you've got really good points there, right? I think one of the things before we hop over to Sean real quick, before I ask for your opinion, I think one of the things that we were kind of discussing is, you guys having picked Colon 3 to win that one. We're like, all right, we got the scaling. Hello, have you seen the other side? The other side also has scaling, and if you fall behind in the early parts of the game, that's not something that you can really sacrifice. So, Sean, what was your takeaway from this one, and what do you want to see moving forward from Colon 3 in particular? I guess is there on the underhand here.
Yeah, I thought it was just really good. Obviously, as it's been mentioned before, that Herald fight really helping out Dakar from the laning phase and everything, being able to go kind of free farm bot lane and everything. And obviously, as Regdar said earlier, that was a scary Zeri with the 3 kills that happened right
Yep.
there. What I want to see from Colon 3 is more so just a little bit of the same in terms of like the composition that they had. There
Mhm.
was just kind of just basically straight front to back, kind of hoping for more of a tank top lane instead of bruisers in the top. I think having more form of front line would have really helped them out to maybe they could have like stabilized
Yep.
a bit more. Something like an Ornn or a Scion. Maybe like a Ornn or a Scion or something like that would probably help. Malphite is always a fun thing to see.
Mhm.
But for them, I think that they can just kind of go back and be like, okay, we messed up at Herald fight. That sucked. Let's not do that again. Have a
Right.
little better coordination, stuff like that, because everything just kind of devolved from that point.
Yeah, and it is a best of 5, right? So you have a little bit of leeway. But again, these champions cannot be reselected because this is a fearless show match, right? So that Mordekaiser where Hoppy was really excelling and where I know for sure is one of Hoppy's mains, if not his number one selection, excuse me, in terms of comfort. Not necessarily great going into game number 2. Of course, side selection is going to be up to Colon 3 once again, who I know has been really favoring this blue side in some of the early picks that they have. But I completely agree with you, Sean and Tony. That's the other thing that I was going to say is having Nocturne, Cassio, Sivir, and Lulu all incredibly squishy and all very, very vulnerable champions, not really having an easy means of escape, right? You have the wild growth, sure, you have the ultimate from Sivir, and you have spell shields and things like that and the cleanse. But aside from that, if you get caught by champions like Jax, Sejuani, by just getting hit by the Zeri, the Renata Glass ultimate, right? That hostile takeover, there's just too much to deal with. So I absolutely agree. If it's not going to be, I'm okay with the Mordekaiser in the top, actually, with the Bruiser ability and the capacity to really grow in terms of his health and be sustainable and survivable in fights. I would like to see maybe Prussian take something with just a little bit more either crowd control or survivability, that, or a bit more initiation, not in that individual sense, because it has to be the ability to counter initiate. And there weren't really any chances with Nocturne in a situation like that to have counter initiation. So does anyone have like any thoughts along those lines, I guess?
The only thing I would say probably is that if you are going to have a dive buddy with the Nocturne,
Mhm.
just get a buddy to go with it as opposed to like, here I go.
Right.
And then it's just Nocturne.
Yep.
And everyone's like, oh, yeah, we have the rest of the team on us, and something as mobile as the Zeri was able to get around. So, maybe they'll be the ones to pick the Zeri as well, since it
Mhm.
is available for them. But I feel like Miko and the squad might have an answer for it.
Yeah, I also like the fact that I forget who it was. It was Regdor or Dylan that brought up the fact, maybe it was even you, Sean, that brought up the fact that, hey, you know what? It might be worth it to save some of those really, really high end picks. Like Zeri is incredibly strong for game like 3 or 4, right? Wait for essentially the pool of champions to be minimized on one side and then take those power picks and say, all right, you know what? We might have lost the first 2 games, but we can come back in a reverse sweep kind of situation. That's absolutely not out of the question. How do you feel about that, Regdor?
Yeah, I think you can like try to mind control the draft to a degree, because like at this point, like what, we look at bans and we try to be like, big brained of like, oh, they banned Irelia, they banned Fiora,
Right.
oh, maybe they want to play like Gnar or something, and then like, oh, we could ban out the Gnar, and then you just like 300 IQ flip it around. I didn't want to do anything like that at all, and pick something different. Maybe if you can bait out the Vi, if you can bait out these things, because I think that's the big difference between when you look at Vi and Nocturne. They both have dive, but then Vi has those extra tools in that queue to continue the lockdown on Zeri, whereas Fiora got on, and then it was just, E away, throw up the deuces, and then get a pentakill. So either A, bait out some more of those lockdown tools that would hurt Zeri, or, like you said, just hold it till later on in the draft. I think that Jinx and a lot of these other scalers work just as fine and suitable in that situation. Idle didn't look bad, but it just feels bad when you're down, even with 4 items, trying to 1v1 Sejuani in the mid lane. Story of an ADC's life.
Yeah, we didn't feel that, but we could feel that, right? Like, it wasn't a first-person feeling. It was definitely sympathy going on there. But Dylan, along those lines, kind of, what do you think that it's better for Colon 3 now to hold off in terms of that? Do you think it's better for them to continue to pick some power picks like they already locked in with the Mordekaiser and the Cassio in that game number 1?
I mean, you play to win the game, right? Like that's realistically what it comes down to, right?
What?
Whether you win in 4 games, whether you win in 5 games, you got to win 3 games. So if you're going to start here and try to win 3 games, not necessarily in a row, but you got to play to win the game. And I know that that's super corny, super cliche, super like, oh yeah, football, you play to win the game. But like, you just you can't hold off until it's too late, right? Because then your back will be up against the wall, being like, oh, we're kind of forced to pick this champion now in a comp that might not make sense, or with not a lot of other champions, because the pools have been dwindled down so much, you might not have enough complementary pieces for those champions to succeed. However, they do have the Zeri still available to them, so who knows? I think that if they pick it this game, then they might have an opportunity to try and repeat the performance of the champion last game. So, in my opinion, you got to pick champs that'll end up winning you the game. So that's my opinion on it.
I like that actually a lot, though, that you bring up. It was something that I kind of touched on before the game started when we were doing the pre-show conversation, just about the fact that even if you have these strong picks later on, sometimes you're trying to fit puzzle pieces together that really just don't match, right? Trying to find a little bit of cohesion within these compositions that sometimes you just can't do based on the bans, and also based on the fact that we don't get the picks for the previous match. And I do think we're going to have, hopefully soon, an overlay or something where you guys are able to see the previous champions. We love you. We love you so much, Camcom. They're absolutely incredible. Our producer, they are doing literally everything on the back end. They have created all of these overlays. They are doing observation. They are doing everything for us. They're absolutely amazing.
They invented Fearless Draft.
They invented Fearless Draft. Not only that, they are corralling these kitten players and remaking Draft 5 times over before we actually get to hop into it. So soon enough, once they are able to, we will get those selections from the first game up, so you guys can see which teams are not able to lock in which champions. Because that is just not allowed. Even if you mess up, it's got to be a remake. If you accidentally lock in a champion that was previously played, it's going to be a remake situation, and we don't want to have to deal with that.
We can't find them, right? Like, we can't take money from the players. That's not real.
Oh, I can. I don't know if they'll pay, but I'll send them and be like, hey, this is an IOU.
So we were going to mess with some funny things. We were actually talking about this. If somebody does that and we have to remake, everybody goes to their Twitter account and finds their tweets, and hey, you know what, whatever is up, we get to talk about. That was one of the punishments we were previously talking about. Hopefully it won't come to anything like that, though, because everybody knows the format of this. And again, for those of you just joining us, it is the Fearless show match. So all of the champions that were picked only by the sides that actually locked them in, they are now removed from their champion selection. The other team, of course, still has that option. And then once they're gone for the entirety of the show match. It's not just the next match. It's not just the next part of it. It's all best of 5 all games in this best of 5 series that are locked down. So we're starting now in this draft with a lot of focus back on the mid lane, which is no surprise because Prussian and Dakar had a lot of influence on that previous game.
Did they swap sides?
Yeah.
I believe they swapped sides. Yes.
Okay. I was just like, there's no
Good
way
call.
Sulpan literally just locked in the same second pick.
Yes, so the icons at the top are correct. So the icons, so
the icon swapped.
colon
Okay,
three,
gotcha.
colon 3 is Yumi, Zuby Zoomers is the picture of Zuby. That's kind of my, but you're absolutely right. The
They're
Azir
both
pick was
cats.
locked
I
in
can't
by
tell. They all look the
Miko.
same to me. I'm sorry.
Right? The Azir pick was locked in by Miko here, so that is just we'll get that fixed up, of course. Again, Camcom absolutely killing it. Just a
Oh
lot
no,
to do
yeah. I
in
mean,
there.
I needed to know just from you. I don't care
Yes, you're right.
because I'm
Good
just
call,
I'm
good
big
call.
dumb. So
Well, you helped
Sean
me.
see screen, Sean talk about screen.
yeah, why no make sense? Me no understand.
Thanks, Mundo. Thank you, Mundo.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. We got our first lock-ins. Okay, we got our first ban phase. We got our first pick phase. Okay, who hasn't spoken? Y'all, who wants to talk about what we see here?
I'm really interested in this Pike, to be honest. To put Smacks on Pike, if that's where it's going, that's going to be super interesting to see how they're going to deal with this Lucian Nami. I'm really interested in seeing how that's gonna go down. And you're also getting Prussian on his signature Vel'Koz. So I believe Vel'Koz has a good pick into his ear. So
Yes.
for when they pick his ear early for Prussian to get his signature champion and countering the enemy mid laner, this is setting up to be something really good for Prussian here.
We at least have the names of those champions there. Cam is over there literally doing like 7 things at once, just so you guys know. We appreciate them like none other.
And they're solving world hunger.
Yeah,
They're
and
amazing.
they let me borrow their Corvette and everything. I mean, it's been a wild ride for them.
Wait, you got the Corvette? No wonder.
I did,
Okay.
I did.
Cam saved my dog from a fire. It was unreal.
Yeah.
The last final bans have come
was
out
actually
though.
the original parent of Yumi and Zuby. So
Yep.
Both the fictional character and the actual living cat that belongs to Colomer, yes. We have, oh my god, we have a lot of focus, obviously, here from the side of Zuby Zoomers to try to ban away that bottom lane, just like last time. It was a bit of contention. That was not something that they want to allow to kind of turn in the other direction on the other side. For Pringles, they've got the Kaisa. So this is one actually that Yanni has been playing quite a bit of. Actually, both Idol and Yanni have been playing a lot of the Kaisa, another one of those big power picks. But I do like the fact that we were asking for a little bit more, maybe of the initiation, maybe of that tankiness elsewhere on the map. And we did get that with the jungle, still with that top pick available here.
I really like the draft coming out from Zuby Zoomers right now. They have the Lucian Nami, an S tier pick in the Azir, and then Gangplank for Miko, really good. All of the champions, Nyx, the Pike, really don't like playing against Gangplank, and we're gonna see the Lilia jungle in here for Sulpan.
Oh, yeah. This is actually, and the Lilia is top of the list for really, not top of the list, but definitely high up on the list for both of these junglers. Honestly, the jungler pools are incredibly similar, but they are very deep. So seeing a lot of the Lilia, I anticipate that we're going to be seeing picks like the Viego. We've already seen the Jarvan with the ban in this game and also in the previous game here. So some of that focus being recognized that Sulpan is really good with these heavy aggressors and heavy initiators. So that's something that I have to watch out for. But the Lilia does allow for a bit of that, plus a lot of that long range poke that will give them some sustain, because if we're looking at Zuby Zoomers, they don't have a ton of tank, right? They don't have a ton of frontline to absorb the damage that is being delivered here by colon 3.
And I'm loving the Shyvana pick. I think Shyvana does pretty well into Gangplank if you're looking at it in a vacuum. So I think it also gives them a little bit more options as well. It doesn't have the hard engage that you want, but it can drastically impact a fight, similar to a Gnar when they get Mega Gnar. When Shyvana gets that dragon form, can definitely take over a fight. It'll be interesting to see how that early lane goes. Which of these late scaling top laners are going to get the advantage?
I think what'll be interesting if we're thinking that Shyvana actually goes jungle and Sejuani goes top lane into the Gangplank. It's something we've seen a number of times that just sets up for proccing that E, forcing Hoppy to use the orange and then ulting on top of it with the ignite to really set down this gangplank up in the top lane. Like, since this changes, a little bit less of a terrorist in the top lane, a little bit more easier to deal with in the early game to kind of set up for it. But the bottom side of the map is where I just see a cataclysmic effect, because both of these lanes want.
You sell Kaisa? You sell Kaisa? Door to doors. Kaisa salesman.
with 2 health bars from the Q and everything like that. But it'll be really interesting to see. I kind of hope we see double Halo Blades come out from this Kaisa Pike bot lane, because if you can like kind of mess with this Lucian Nami bot lane at level 1, 2, before they get level 3, it'd be really good, I think.
Yeah, and I do, if I was to put money on, you guys were talking about the Shyvana Sejuani here. In terms of who Beora plays, it's absolutely the Shyvana. That's much more of his style, more of the aggressive initiators, right? And you don't like the up in the air, whether that Glacial Prison is going to hit or not, but that is much more Miko's style, right? Having the sustainability to be in that lane, because I think both of these jungles are going to try to focus, like you guys were talking about, towards the bottom side. That's where a lot more volatility can happen. Not just that, but we saw how Idol popped off in the last game. And if I am on the side of Colon 3, if I am on Team Pringles with the Yuumi there, that is absolutely the player that I am looking to shut down as quickly as possible. All right. I don't know. You guys all sound the same to me. I don't know who's been talking. All right. I should be paying attention to this, but I'm looking at notes.
What y'all don't know is that actually no one's been talking, and Jolly just does great impressions.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, can confirm. Already got my mannerisms down.
I just got back. I haven't said a word yet.
Oh my goodness. I'm not that good. I'm not that good of a host, clearly, as you guys can see. But all right. We're not gonna do predictions quite yet going into this one. But I do want to kind of get, now that we see how things are lined up, and I do actually just want to get the confirmation that the Shyvana is going in the jungle, right? I'm like 99% certain, but I just want to make sure that that is the case before we really talk about some of these interactions. Okay, yes, Shyvana is in the jungle. We got confirmation. It is Shyvana jungle. It is Sejuani top. So the flex pick was great. So I guess, you know what? All right, casters should be ready relatively soon. So let's just do our predictions. All right, we'll start with you, Dylan. How do you see this one playing out?
When I look at both of the teams' compositions, yeah, you do get the counter. I really just like blue side draft a lot better this game. You have the scaling in the GP. You have, I can't really. I'm trying to think of like the different ways that Red can win the game, and unless like Prussian or the bot lane really pop off, then I think it's a blue side draft win.
All right, we got to be quick. Regdor, what's your anticipation here?
I believe in Kaisa. I believe in Yanni. In Yanni, we trust, and it's going to be a red side. We're making this 1-1.
All right, in Yanni, we trust. Fight Club, I like it. Sean, real quick, what's your prediction here?
Blue side goes up 2-0, and then hopefully we get 5 games, because I want to see someone play Soraka like top lane or something like that.
All right, I love it. Once again, the desk is split. I'm going to toss it back over to the casters. Orbital, random minion caster, take it away.
Yeah, I'm great. Sean, wait, hold up. Soraka? That's your spicy pick? Come on, at least give me a Teemo. A Heimer, man. Soraka's lived up there before.
Soraka's lived everywhere, let's be real. Lived top lane, lived mid lane, lived ADC at one point in my solo queue game.
Soraka jungle. If we're gonna make her spicy, it's gotta be in the jungle.
Don't bait him with a good time. It will happen. So, taking a look though, we are back on here. We are still in the dumpster fire that is Fearless Draft. I still got the Poros fighting behind me, and we are having such a phenomenal time. Again, game number 1, it was spicy. We saw some amazing things come out from Zuby Zoomers. A pentakill for Idol in game number 1. You saw how hard they chased for that. They chased hard. But again, for Team Pringles or Colon 3, they were also fighting back pretty hard. Their composition didn't get off the ground as quickly as they would have liked. And again, the early Rift Herald fight probably didn't help that either. But in game number 2, couple other options coming up here. So taking a look at the draft, number 1, of course, Prussian has that Vel'Koz one that I know viewers have been wanting, and I know Prussian is well known for. It's going to be a good one.
Yeah, for sure. And we touched on, power picks versus pocket picks. I'm a little bit surprised we've seen the pocket picks come out this early here, but it didn't. In a best of 5, I understand that Colon 3 doesn't want to fall too far behind here, so they want to make sure they're pulling out some of it here to keep themselves in the series. What actually incredibly disappoints me here, Orbital, was the bot lane. Smack Spike, that's exciting here because, Smax wants to kill somebody. You don't pick enchanters, you pick champions like Pyke who can solo kill squishier targets, especially if you get snowballing early. It's Yanni I'm a little bit disappointed in. The Kai'Sa pick is fine, but this man says that his favorite voice line is "Welcome to the League of Draven." Gets a Pyke support, doesn't pick Draven. Like, come on, bro! that is the OG kill lane, or not OG, but it's one of the best kill lanes. Like, pick it here. When else are you gonna pick a Draven?
Maybe game 3 when you're not up against a Lucian Nami. Come on. Let's give that lane a little bit of credit there too, right?
I think Draven's better than Kai'Sa for this lane. Like, yes, if you screw the lane up, Draven's going to fall incredibly far behind. I still have flashbacks to MSI when it happened. But I think you have an easier chance. You have a better chance of winning that lane early with that Draven as compared to the Kai'Sa. The Kai'Sa burst is not quite as high early on. You need a couple of items first before you really come alive.
And this is why you're not a player, you're a caster, right? That's exactly why. So
yeah,
all right.
That's why. That's why.
Listen, we don't talk about that. There's a reason that I'm on the desk too. So, yeah, we'll keep it at that. So, taking a look though, there are eyes open everywhere, and I'm very, very excited because again, we did see that we are starting to see some of those fluctuations. The only real returning champion is that, for the second game at least, is that Sejuani coming in here, but of course on the opposite side, right? Fairly new champions across the board, and that's kind of crazy to me because again, we have stated that these players do have separate pools, meaning Team A, Team Pringles, if they wish, they can pick up Zeri in game 1, and then on the flip side, it can be picked up for game 2 over on the others. So we could have had that kind of fluctuation where it's fairly simple, right? We just get mirror matchups for 2 games in a row kind of thing. But it's not that. These teams have actually opted and said, hey, we can't really do that. And I think that's going to branch out even further. So do you think we are starting to diversify as far as you would like, RMC, or is this not enough diversification?
Well, I think a lot of this variety also comes from the position these teams are on here. The fact that Zoomers, they got that early lead, they've got that game 1, so they can afford to kind of sit back, still play fairly standard without necessarily picking top tier champions here. I know that Sivir was banned this particular game, but Yuumi was open and they didn't feel the need to go to it. They could go with Lucian Nami, which while strong, I wouldn't put them S tier in terms of bot lanes right now. Likewise with Lilia, I think she's really strong. Do I think she's top tier? Not necessarily. So they can afford to do that, and we already touched on the side of Colon 3 what they had to do here.
Yeah. Listen, we're going to change those names every single time we get the chance because it's funny and we like it. And we don't have anyone telling us we can't. So it is Colon 3 this time around, facing off against the Zoomers here in game number 2. As you can tell, though, it is not the players that we thought, or at least saw back in the draft. It is going to be Smacks on that Pyke as before, with the Shyvana in the top lane and the Sejuani in the jungle. So a little bit of spice, but an invade coming in here saying, hey, listen, if we're going to do something spicy, we want to make it spicy.
And do they know? Idol is kind of in the area, but didn't actually step out to get vision here. The ward. Yora just placed a ward, and that will give away that the invade was in progress. Now, Orbital, we do have to touch quickly on the side of Colon 3 here, their top and jungle, because we had thought it was going to be Shyvana jungle, I believe. But it's actually going to be Shyvana top. It's not Biora's Shyvana. And Shyvana into GP is actually an interesting matchup. There were some regions trying it out as a matchup with the idea that, hey, Shyvana, she's got really strong wave clear. She's got a lot of safety as well. And she can get onto that GP fairly consistently, fairly easily. Out-trade him once she's in that melee range. Level 6 as well, you get that free engage, you get the poke, and you get tanky enough that you actually start ignoring a lot of what GP does. You can enable dives quite quickly as well here. So we'll have to see if it does pan out this game. The downside, of course, is that GP will outscale you in terms of damage later on. So while GP doesn't win the 1v1, you'll have more impact in the 5v5s.
Oh, well... That is one thing to watch for. What we also get to watch for is the bot side, and Smack showing off that pike prowess there. Stabbing a minion. Hooray. Got the caster minion, was looking for Idol, who decided to go for the W first, which is quite surprising, right? Saying, hey, I'm going to farm it up as best as possible. And now look at the level 2 for a bit more action. So that was always kind of interesting to watch for. Smacks, though, saying that ward will be no more. Yanni getting jumped on, gets auto-attacked a little bit, but look at that change! That's a change that you weren't expecting! Colimer is gonna get zapped and killed! First blood in the bot lane! That's the new patch, ladies and gentlemen! If you do not know, the electrocute no longer procs on just the E of the Nami!
Okay, Yanni, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Your guys is fine. We don't need the Draven. Yeah, wow, that was a lot of damage. And that's why I was pretty excited when I saw Smacks pick up the Pike here. Because, you know, Smacks is the higher ranked player in this bot lane here. You know, he's got the mechanics, show it off here, really make that a kill lane, try and punish Colimer and Idol a little bit more. For Idol, though, he survived, he wasn't the one who went down, and he's still going to be able to farm up perfectly fine, even if Colimer's dead. Interesting to note as well is the junglers. Sulpan invaded, Biora has now counter-invaded here. So we are seeing a bit of a vertical jungle, and it might explain why Idol and Colimer are not as aggressive as you might expect in Vishnami to be.
Yeah, it's a problem as Sulpan, buddy. Okay, listen, I know game 1, I ragged on you a little bit. Yeah, dab all you want, man. Dab all you want. We have some questions here. Idol, though, getting zapped on the bot side. Bjorn making the first gank of this bot lane and immediately burning the flash. So Idol flashing that oh so sad kitten. Now we get all these emotes. I love it. I love it.
Oh, man, I'm getting so scared for Idol and Colimer here right now. It feels like any hook and somebody's going to drop dead. Idol had to burn flash on that particular play. So Nick's hook should be a kill in this bot side here. And I'm wondering if we see any relief come into this bot lane here. Sulpan's still not looking at all at coming down here. And if Sulpan doesn't go down, then you kind of just have to wait for level 6 in your solo lanes, and then Miko might be able to send down a cannon barrage. But other than that, it feels like Idol and Colimer have been left alone on an island. And as much as, you know, Idol and Colimer are suffering a little bit here, Hoppy on the other end has no problems, is winning out that 1v1 very comfortably.
Oh, but look at this. Sulpan, knowing that Sulpan died and is behind in the rotation, is going to get the grab, and they get the root. There is nothing else available, and guess who gets the kill? And blue buff. 2 for 1. Birds down. Prussian able to pick that one up, granted a kill as well as blue buff. This lane is now falling heavily in favor of Colon 3.
They ain't done yet. Miko, where are you going, buddy?
Miko does have flash, so I mean burning every single flash that's available. Smack says, hey, let's go ahead, tag it up. Flash out before the 4th tag can come through. Biora, though, and Smack's getting so much value out of this mid to top roam.
Miko played that so well that you've got to dodge the stun, you've got to dodge the hook, you've got to dodge the knock-up, or you've got to choose which ones you let hit so that you can cleanse away there. And Miko, yeah, he has to burn flash, but more importantly, he survived and he gets to pick up this wave that's crashing in. So great play from him. Problem is, while Smax is roaming, there's no pressure on Yanni whatsoever here. Yanni's more than happy bot side. No. Just a tip.
Listen. You were hoping for barrier there. I would have laughed so hard if we saw Dakar start randomly TPing somewhere, because that felt like if I had barrier, I would have been fine. Very well timed, though, on Prussian. 2 kills now in the mid lane. This oh-so OP Vel'Koz is going to start being a menace later on.
Okay, Orbital, take a deep breath right now.
No, I don't want to. I want more action. I want to see more. I want to see more go on.
We will get more, I am sure, Orbital, but right now, Zuby Zoomers at least needs to take a bit of a breath. It feels like they've been on the back foot the entire time here, just kind of dragged around by the side of Colon 3, and you love that pace from them. Colon 3 needs to keep it up, but Zuby Zoomers play a little bit more defensively. Track where Smax is here. Idol and Colimer are doing pretty decently in the 2v2, so, you know, as long as they make sure Smax is not impacting the other lanes, you can try and contain a lot of that damage.
Yeah, it's going to feel okay in that sense, right? It's going to try and nullify what happened, because we did see Colon 3 do this in game number 1 as well, right? They were able to mitigate the early stages. They were able to slow down kind of that bleeding effect that happened, That's almost going to be a steal, but Smack says, hey, Colomer, you're left out and alone, and now it's going to be another stun. They're going to do this right before Dragon goes down. They got it. Are you kidding me? Idol, you get a return kill, but the rest of the team is here, and it's a beautiful play. Colon3 snap back with the Dragon and 3. Dakar even gets knocked up, and Yanni says it's mine. That's a triple kill. Yanni paying Idol back for game number 1.
Ooh, this bot lane, I wanted to watch it for the drama, but we're watching for the pop-off plays right now. Yanni and Idol both looking immaculate here in respectively games 1 and games 2. And Colon3, they're just not stopping. They just keep pressing. I want to highlight the patience on that Dragon play there. They waited. Smacks saw the Dragon health and was like, okay, we can wait on this here and we can get absolutely everything. Yeah, that's the Shyvana GP matchup. That was what I was saying. Like, after a certain point, like, Shyvana just kind of ignores everything under the turret. This is before Mythics come through. Just wait till either the Sunfire or Frostfire Gauntlet comes through. Miko doesn't get to farm anymore.
And remember in game number 1, excuse me, Hoppy Cow was actually winning that top side, right? Hoppy Cow in a 1v1 matchup was getting a bit of an advantage, right? So this is continuing that. They have identified on Colon3 that, hey, Hoppy Cow is a fairly strong player. Let's go ahead and give him that matchup. Let's give him those powerhouse matchups that we want to see. And it's worked, right? 15.2k versus 11.1 at 8.5 minutes. I don't think I have to tell anyone that that is a massive gold lead before 10 minutes.
Monumental, and that's going to allow them to start diving with impunity as well here. We touched on the Shyvana dive, but when you pair that with the burst damage of Vel'Koz, a Pike can put down as well here, and the squishy lanes that the side of Zuby-Zoomers have. They don't have a true tank. Their tankiest member is probably going to be Sulpen later on, but not right now, not at this stage of the game here. So yeah, you've got to ward up if you're side of Zuby-Zoomers, and you've got to be willing to start giving up CS if need be whenever you see dives coming through. Miko still hovering up here. The moment that Herald goes down, I don't think Miko can safely stay in this lane anymore.
Miko's gonna feel the absolute wrath of what happened in game 1 be brought everywhere else. I mean, heck, even just this early game is gonna be brought over towards that top side, right? For what it's worth, Miko had a lot of enjoyment on the top end when Sulpen was actually ganking, right? Giving a lot of value over to that top side, making sure that that Jax got off the ground nicely. Well, this time around, the rest of your laners have actually had a very tough time, and for that to happen, right, even with the Cannon Barrage, you haven't been able to utilize it as much as you want to. It's going to be a challenge. Very, very interesting how this game has swung so dynamically back in favor of Colon3, right? The series is... We thought it was going to be different, and now it's just, listen, back and forth, let's do it.
Yeah, and that's what we wanted to see, not just because of the way this draft works here, in terms of, you know, them having to pull out more and more different champions as we go in, but precisely, well, because of that as well, because we want to get to game 5 and we want to see how deep these pockets are, and how they're able to pull out as things go on. Smacks getting caught here.
Oh, that one hurts quite a bit. Idol, with that bubble from Colomer, able to rip back at least 1 kill to their favor, and drawing it to a 2-1-0 for the Lucian.
Good pickup. That is only the 2nd kill that Zuby-Zoomers have been able to pick up. Both of the kills onto Idol here, and we've seen Idol pop off. I feel like if there is somebody who might be able to force some plays to happen here for this team, it is on Idol, and Yanni has to be very, very careful here. Again, we touched on how squishy Zuby-Zoomers are, but Yanni is no different. And Kai'Sa, a lot of mobility going forward, kiting backwards, a bit more limited in the options you have.
Yeah, this is getting pretty spicy here. And waiting around for this upcoming dragon, this is going to be the 2nd dragon of the game, which is Hextech, as Idol dives forward with the culling here. Hextech and Infernal are 2 that you would normally want on the Soul, right? You would normally play for it like that, but I mean, to have it so early on doesn't feel too bad, right? To get it early and say, hey, maybe we don't have to challenge for these major ones later on. It's a nice little burst of extra damage and a little burst of extra attack speed, as well as a bit of ability haste. So we do see Prussian as well as Smacks bullying out Dakar and Sulpen, keeping them far away from the bot lane river.
Yeah, and for Colon3, to a certain extent, it matters less what dragon it is, and you're just trying to get the dragons out, like, stack them ASAP, right? Especially when you've got this dominant control of the game. You're just trying to speedrun it best you can. Herald charging into that.
Oh, that Azir shuffle was good, but not enough damage behind it as they are immediately rebutted here. It will be a kill, but the tower is able to help out, taking out Smacks. It's a little zap and burn. Prussian with the seedling is going to get jumped on, another bop on top, and Biora is going to fall as well. Triple kill for Sulpan. It's just a high kill game at this point.
Wait, is this it? Orbital, Zoomer starting to come back? I mean, we were talking about, what was that? A 4K gold lead? 5K gold lead for Golden 3? And it was absolutely massive, and it's shrinking. It's now down to 3K. Sulpan with those 3 kills now. Triple kill. Idol, you know, up CS, finally catching up to Yanni a little bit here. It feels like Zoomers can actually start to look to contest the bot side. And Dragon Orbital we were talking about, we made it sound like it was a shoo-in for Golden 3. Zoomers are taking it.
I mean, it's usually a shoo-in if you have all your members alive. When you get killed in that mid lane like that, yeah, that's no longer a shoo-in. Very nicely timed, but we are getting the Ocean Soul for the 2nd game in a row here. I mean, come on, there's so many other dragons to pick from, but it is going to be nice to see because, again, we get extra bushes to play with in these teams constantly with a roaming Pike, as you can see here, with a roaming Collimer as well, and the Nami. These bushes are going to help out a lot. It's going to draw a lot of different attention, but look at that. Collimer gets drawn in, immediately killed. Smacks is going to pick up that kill. Now they're going to try and look for Idol, who draws off that fight. That is a very quick kill that, of course, Golden 3 are going to like.
Yeah, these bot lanes right now, it's just dodgeball for Zoomers. If you get hit by a single hook, you're kind of dead. Prussian with the roam down here. The Sulpan.
Oh, that's so mean. Sulpan getting burned right now, and Biora's ready. Oh, they're going to die this with no minions. Oh my gosh. Are they actually going to do this? That's going to be the Glacial Prison. They lock up Idol, who flashes out of the way. Dodges away from the knockup. Sulpan is going to get Yanni on the back line, but that's going to be the push to Car, hoping to draw a few more in. The Comet does not get the kill, and the wave is going to turn it around. In goes Yanni to try and pick up the 2nd, and they do, but they still sacrifice their lives. This dive has gone 3 different ways of sideways. Smack's going to try and get over the wall with the dash, and might be able to pick it up. They do, and they're alive, but Dakar says, I'm going to follow, but only for a short time longer. The dive resulted in a 3 for 2 that I'm not sure either side enjoyed.
Yeah, considering that was set up by Golden 3, sure, they won out 3 for 2, but not by much. Miko.
Oh my gosh. Oh.
Frostfire Gauntlets completed, Orbital. We said the Hoppy Cow could start looking for those solo dives now, and Miko down 30 CS, probably down about a level or half a level at this point as well. That's actually going to be the first turret to drop in the top lane. It's not where they dropped Herald. They didn't need to. Like you said, Hoppy Cow just very comfortable in the 1v1.
I can't believe it that Golden 3 this has been twice now that we have seen them initiate some sort of aggressive push, gotten answered by Dakar of all people with the Azir, and had that kind of breakdown, and yet still somehow come out on top, right? That gold lead is right back there. They're right back to about 4.5 to 5K. They are not stopping. This is an aggressive composition that is saying, hey, look, we lost game number 1. Let's go for it. Let's go for game 2.
Yeah, the skill on this comp isn't bad either. Because there's a Lucian, your Kaiser is able to match that here. Even actually out damage as the game goes later on. Vel'Koz as well. I think if you can really set up and get the poke down, you can out damage an Azir Dakar. Oh man. I don't blame him for canceling that back, but that is unfortunate. And that will now set behind Zoomers in terms of trying to match the pace that Golden 3 are putting up, and Golden 3 should be able to get this Herald without any contest.
No steals here today, right? No one gets a steal. No one happens to be in the way. But Miko, you got nothing. You are getting run down to such devastating ways. Hoppy Cow picks up a 2nd solo kill and says, get out of my territory.
This is in solo queue when your top laner starts to just go AFK at this point. You're just like, guys, gank me or I AFK at Fountain. For Zoomers, yeah, you need to send some help up there, man. Like, lane swap if you have to. Idol just took the bot side turret, so now it's as good a time as Collimer.
Oh, Collimer. Very nice dodge. The fin was just barely scraped there. But, oh my gosh. This is 16.5 minutes, by the way. 16.5 minutes. The first time that we saw anything break out on game number 1 was about 20 minutes. This is going to be a TP. They're going to try and look in. That's going to be a silence. Yanni is dead. That's one of the few people that is extremely fed, right? 6-1 and 2, now 6-2 and 2. Tower has fallen into that lane. Solpin drawn off by Biora, cutting them off. It was a Glacial Prison that was used as a little bit of zoning. But this is going to be a catch. Solpin zapped and burned. You flash into the laser and you still die. A great pickup by Prussian. Calmer gets knocked up and slowed, and that's going to be the challenge. Biora and Prussian, the Immaculate Duo, is now going to be shoved back into the team fight. Biora getting burned down by the culling. And the rest of the team is waiting, but TP, the fight is continuing. And guess who's freaking fed? Hoppy Cow says, get out of my lane. And the bottom lane river as well. Smax comes in with the execution and looks for a second. Double kill goes in for Hoppy Cow. It is an ace for the side of Colon 3.
It was messy, it was chaotic, Orbital, but it is a win for Colon 3, a definitive one as well. And huge props to Zuby Zoomers. Again, really good individual mechanics. We've said that multiple times. You're just so far behind, it doesn't work here. And Colon 3, they put in the work early. It's allowing them to be a little bit sloppy now, and they still went out. And Prussian on this Vel'Koz, man, it's just so dangerous over and over again. He's finding these picks, and we already said, Zuby Zoomers, you're just so squishy. You can't be face checking these sort of bushes, and on an ocean map no less. You already had it in game 1. You benefited from it in game 1. You should know exactly how deadly it is when you're on the losing side.
Such a ridiculous game so far, and I am enjoying it to an immense degree. Right now, Smack's 3-3-3, still on the hunt, by the way. Yep. Still on the hunt on this Pyke, and it's sad. Listen, if you're enjoying this game, be very sad, because this is the only time you get to see these champions played by these specific people in this series. That is the benefit of this drafting style. You see that champion once, you won't have to see it again. You don't have to worry about it for the rest of the series. The Pyke is immaculate, but the fact that they chose to bring out both Pyke and Vel'Koz in game number 2 feels like it's one of those that says, hey, we are supposed to win this game. This is our way to bring the flow back into our favor.
Yeah, these are those pocket picks coming out here. And while for Prussian, I don't know if he's got another champion, which is going to be able to perform as well as this Vel'Koz here. I know Smax has other things. You know, we heard on the desk, things like the Vi, the Pantheon, which he has practiced as well. Granted, it won't burst quite as hard as the Pyke here, but it's still potentially options for them to look at, which can accomplish similar things. The other person too I'm looking at is Yanni, because his Kai'Sa has been very impressive this game. 6, 2, and 3, quietly stacking up those kills here. And it's not all Smax either. Smax has only participated in 6 kills. Yanni has 9. So some of it's just Yanni playing really well. Does he have another champion in his pocket that can do the same thing after this game here?
I mean, you're hoping so, or, you know, these teams have got something practice in their back pocket as well, right? I have seen specifically, it was Zuby Zoomers practicing all the way up to game time. I saw them in this Discord, I think, for about 5 hours before this series, just playing games, getting stuff ready. They've been practicing. So again, this is friendly at the same time. There's some pride on the line and a little bit of money. So they are definitely playing to win as well. Taking a look here, bottom lane jungle is going to be the value start here, but that's going to be the draw. Yanni burning that cleanse, but guess who's in the back line? Look at the AoE. The shuffle is being used to keep everyone safe, but the Coling is going to grab Hoppy's life. Biora ready to try and fight it out. Idle getting taken quite low. The laser just not reaching, but it burns enough flashes that everyone has to run away. Biora, though, sets up Smax nicely, and it's destruction all the way around. That is going to be Smax and Yanni pulling the full house ace.
They're gonna fall back onto this Baron here. I don't know if they've got a tank though. I don't know if they have enough damage to actually be able to take this. It's only 20 minutes 30 seconds overall. It literally just spawned, and this early on, yeah, Baron hurts a lot. So yeah, fair enough. They make the call that, hey guys, Biora's dead, Hoppy Cow's dead, our tanks aren't here, our smites not here. Let's just back up and reset. But 20 minutes, and they're knocking on the base inhibitors of Zuby Zoomers.
It's such a reversal from game number 1, right? Watching how this game unfolds. This is Colon 3 sending it as hard as they can, and I am enjoying it. So, as you said, Baron, next one on the mark, right? With 2 short of death timers. It is Zuby Zoomers back on the field and already playing towards that top side. Columner going through, getting ready to sweep out all those wards with a Scryer's plant as well if they can hit it. Smack's going forward as well, though, and this could cause a little bit of a mishap. Solpin and Biora say hello to each other and say, yeah, we're good.
Yeah, and for Zuby Zoomers here, they've done a really good job actually of finding Yanni multiple times on the engage. Yanni had to burn both cleanse and flash that last time. So that won't be up for the next pickoff if Zuby Zoomers can make that happen. And the layering of Sulpan and Collimer, specifically the Lilting Lullaby into the bubble to maximize stun time, has been immaculate thus far. So if they can find it onto Prussian, onto Yanni, they still have a chance. For now though, the vision clearing that Golden 3 has done is very, very effective. And Zuby Zoomers, like we said, it's only 22 minutes here. They weren't really set up to stop this. So that's going to be a free Baron going over here. Hoppy Cow just burning time.
Oh my gosh, no. Hoppy.
Does he find kills?
Hoppy. A little bit too far there, Hoppy. We'll call it a bait, right? Just baiting it out, making sure, because again, that is why Zuby Zoomers were on the bot side. They saw Hoppy, they said, hey, someone else is going to be following behind. But they are going to grab those. So oh, that is huge. Smacks with the burn of the flash Sulpan. I mean, it had to be done.
Yeah. They didn't have vision. They didn't know who else was with Smacks there. And if anybody else was there, you can get the execute right away. So it's a rough flash to lose for Sulpan. And because we have vision, it looks bad. But it's the right call in this particular situation here. Now, they still have everybody up and alive, and Hoppy Cow did go down. Dragon spawning in 18 seconds here. Are they going to go for this? It's a little bit risky. Even if they get the Dragon, can they get out?
Oh, well, the problem is Biora did go in and said, I can't get out, charged straight into the side of Sulpan, and is now out a flash. So, Hoppy TPing in the backside. Yeah. This is going to be the challenge. Biora already down to 50% HP. Collimer hiding off in the wings. Very little vision for the side of Zuby Zoomers, but Hoppy Cow burning that Skyri's plant. They know where the dragon is. No dragon form, but goes in to try and start the fight up. Wave catches 2 on the back end, and it's a shuffle once again. The brilliant team fighting is so good, but Yanni is able to buy so much time for the laser. That is how you play it. It works so well, and it is Colon 3 that take the fight so far in a 1-for-2. Smack still on the hunt for a few more, and then the dunk, the death from below. Smacks at 7 says, look at me, I am the captain now. It is 4 and an ace for Colon 3 as they take the 3rd dragon for themselves, 4th of the game, and set themselves on Soul Point.
Yeesh. There was a second there, Orbital, where I thought maybe Zuby Zoomers actually did it. You know, Dakar getting into the back, getting a beautiful shuffle off there. There was hope. And as quickly as that hope came, it died right back out. Prussian is just untouched right now. And it's like, yeah, you keep catching Yanni. Yanni's a big carry. That's true. But Prussian is even scarier in terms of upfront burst damage here. And once he shreds you, it's so easy for Smacks to just clean up.
I mean, we're talking about Prussian. We talk about Smacks, right? This is the 8th kill and the 12th kill that they have been able to, or 12th participation that they have locked in so far. Smacks is, there's a reason that Pike was talked about, right? That was one of the reasons that this game has gone on so far. These power picks are granting so much value here in game number 2. At 25 minutes, Colon 3 are knocking down on the doors of 2 inhibitor towers. And it looks like they can at least get 1 bot side. Smacks looking for that grab. Idle flashing away. Wave comes out again. But the cannon barrage is going to slow them all. Biora being a little bit of a front line. It's going to be a little bit too slow. Hoppy Cow says, give me a chance. And they blow them up. Prussian is on a rampage. Smacks, it's freaking legendary. But it's going to fall to the tower. Nami picks up the legendary shutdown. And it feels so good. The supportal combat lends itself to Collimer saying, hey, listen, I won the battle. Maybe not the war, but the battle at least.
Smacks in a player questionnaire was saying that his goal is to try and make Collimer uninstall League of Legends. I was thinking, like, hey, up to this point, he's been doing a great job of it. Collimer 3, 6, and 8, and I suspect like majority of those 6 deaths have come from the hands of Smacks. But when you give a bounty over like that, that's what keeps, you know, League of Legends addicts coming back, right? When you get that hit of that sweet, sweet legendary bounty. You might have killed me 6 times, but I killed you when you're legendary.
I'm not sure if that's one of those moments, but it definitely feels like it, right? For me, it's usually if I'm legendary, if I get to that point. Those are so rare nowadays, and I'm very, very sad. So, taking a look, though, it has been just... I've said so many words so far, but it's gotten a little bit out of control, right? We took a look at the gold previously back at about 15, 16 minutes. It is now ballooned out of control, right? 14K in the pockets of this Colon 3 squad. They have been picking up a storm here. 2-3 items completed, 3.5 currently sitting for Yanni, who after 3 items has now built into that Guardian Angel, right? Saying, hey, look, I have enough damage and I'm already being kind of that bait, if you will. Let's go ahead and pick up an extra life. Solpin eating all of that damage and still not dying, so that shows the value of where they are. The car, though, you're caught in between a rock and a hard place, has to jump out. Thankfully, the Manchu's Veil has been completed as a second item for the Azir.
My goodness, and that was 2 ultimates and a teleport blown when on what was Yanni just ulting in there. You're talking about Yanni acting as bait. He is grade A bait here. 1 ult for 2 and a TP, very much so worth it. And now they just keep pushing in. They know that, hey, even under turret, we got this here. They don't have the tools to stop us.
This is such a problem here. Now remember, an inhibitor tower has not fallen yet. 2 inhibitor towers are being pressured early. Neither fell, so that is a plus in the favor of the Zuby Zoomers here. Of course, with Hoppy now in dragon form, this is going to be just a wee bit harder. So, in comes the next wave. Hoppy Cow is willing to tank it up, and the inhibitor tower is going to fall. In comes a second inhibitor, and that's going to be another problem for the side of Zuby Zoomers to deal with. But Smax and the rest of the squad is saying, hey, we still have the damage, we still have the HP. We can dance inside the base for a little bit longer.
Yeah, I mean, Hoppy Cow has the demonic embrace as well, so his poke really hurts. Dakar!
Dakar is able to survive with less than 100 HP, but once that happens, you know you gotta leave. Dragon up in 40 seconds. The entirety of Zuby Zoomers are gonna try and maybe do something about it. I'm not even sure if they're wanting to try it.
Yeah, and that's, again, tidal wave blown almost as soon as it came off. Cooldown, Colimer had to use it to disengage there. And it feels like for Zuby Zoomers, you need all these ults for the fights. You need to layer the CC because you're already having problems cutting through Biora, cutting through Hoppy Cow in that front line there. You need to buy the time with that CC. If it's not available, you don't win the fights. And now, like you said, Soul is coming up in 10 seconds here. And for Zuby Zoomers, if you don't get this, if you give it over, you just can't win anything.
Well, it doesn't look like you're going to give it over because the majority share of the rest of the team is going to come to you. This is Colon 3 saying, hey, we want to make the fight, but over the wall, Idol is not going to die. Prussian is going to stay alive, and because of that, it's actually feeling okay. Zuby Zoomers had come out with a lot worse for wear, but look at the base. It is going to be Hoppy Cow in there dancing it out, and it is Colon 3 that are saying, we were just a distraction. We were not the main attraction. Hoppy Cow takes down 1 Nexus Tower, has the second inhibitor already destroyed, and Idol just cannot deal with it. The Lucian does not have the backing at this point in time. And the kills, 1 for 3 in a chase by Smax, forcing Solpin all the way off base. This has been a phenomenal twist in the call. Colon 3 come out with a Nexus Tower, an inhibitor, and the soul to boot here in just a few. Smax!
No way!
Give me no, Solpin! Solpin, the banhammer came down on Smax's head right there.
He was just waiting for ult to come back up. 1 more second, Smack's gonna turn it. It got so close. And the fact that your support is now dueling the enemy jungler to the death right now, that to me is the biggest sign of the discrepancy in gold between these two teams right here. Now, Hoppy Cow eats an entire rotation from Idol, 1 Dragon's Breath, and he actually wins the trade. That is disgusting to watch. He's 4 levels up on Idol right now, and Zuby Zoomers, you can't leave the base. If you leave the base, Hoppy Cow can just backdoor you. You still need the minions to take that last turret down, but if there's any minions in that base whatsoever, Zuby Zoomers can't step out.
Oh man, this is a challenge, of course. Let's be real. This is kind of Zuby Zoomers getting a taste of their own medicine here in game number 2, and I love it. This now means we have a series, and I'm so excited. This is what we want to see. We want to see some fun come out. 9-1 and 16, 25 out of 34 for Prussian there. Second Baron, by the way. This is the second Baron for the side of Colon 3. They're saying we are not leaving anything to chance. We are making sure we get all of the lovely buffs. And we will leave Hoppy to once again be bait. Hoppy pushing in that top side, ensuring that the final inhibitor will have some pressure on it.
Yeah, I mean, it should have all the pressure at this point. You've got Supers pushing the other lane, just group up top, push this in. Jolly, I see you in chat, and I agree with you. Just end it, right? We've seen everything there is to have. We've seen the fights, we've seen the Barons, we've seen the Soul here. The only thing we're still missing is an Elder. That is not an invitation to take Elder. Just end it right now with this Baron here. You've got such a massive lead, and finally it looks like they're doing it. One last one.
Yep. Hoppy said, listen, I'm done waiting around. They are going to just brute force their way to a kill. They catch Sulpin with a Glacial Prison. I think that's the first Glacial Prison I've seen land all series. And they make it work. And Nexus is going to fall next as they just murk their way through the rest of the squad. The fountain is going to help out a little bit more, but it is going to be game over. We are at a 1-1 tie as game 2 goes away of :3. There's so much we want to talk about. We, of course, are just the casters. Let's go ahead and leave it to the analysts to break down why that swung so drastically in the other direction. Jolly and crew, take it away.
Column or tilted, column or fined, column or left early. That was maybe not what everyone was expecting here. However, we did have a bit of a split desk. And I gotta say that we have a series, boys. We have got a fantastic series on our hands here. Games 1 and 2 are done and dusted. Both of them lasted about 31, 32 minutes. And both of them went pretty heavy-handedly, I have to say. After, probably like a decent third of the way through the match, it almost felt like it was decided, right? I'll start with you, Regdor. How do you kind of feel about just the style of gameplay that we saw there and now how we can expect these folks to play going forward?
I don't want to take anything away from what Yanni and company did and what Hoppy did as well, but we were kind of talking about it at the beginning is that it kind of felt like Sulpan went off script because you pick Lucian Nami, and this is a very aggressive lane that wants to push, that wants to heavy trade. And if they lose flash early, if they lose out on 2v2 early, it really neuters and stunts the whole laning phase and the whole acceleration that lane wants to do for their team. And Sulpan goes for the invade up there on the top side and stays up on the top side, leaving basically the bot lane out to dry. And Murder Smacks does exactly what Murder Smacks wanted to do, get the early level 2, all in, gets First Blood taken over, and then begins a worldwide tour of taking flashes and sending people to gray screen that was very much inverse. It was almost like their game to lose at that point, and at no point did they slow down in that destination. So kind of felt bad to see an aggro bot lane get picked, and then sadly just get kind of chopped at the knees early on and didn't really have that pressure point on the map like they did prior.
Yeah, I think that's definitely something that I would like to see going forward is so far we've seen 2 games that it feels like, even though they've both gone to about 31, 32 minutes, it feels like it's almost been decided after the first third, right? I want to see a lot more back and forth. I don't want to see these massive gold gaps that we've been seeing. So Dylan, moving forward, what do you think either of these teams needs to kind of focus on? Like, what have they both been excelling at? And what do you think are going to be their strong points moving forward into this game number 3, which is the tiebreaker, still not the end of the series?
Well, it certainly helps when they focus more on their draft than what is displayed on stream. So, it'd be a lot easier to help them win the game if they're not typing in Twitch chat about what the casters are doing or if they're muted or not. So that probably helps. But yeah,
working hard.
Early
Okay?
jungle pathing was pretty indicative of this game. I really liked Bjorn's path and how he adapted to when they found out that Lilia was going to be splitting the map on the opposite side of the map. That was definitely weird by them, but absolutely. Biora's adaptation to his path was very good. And we didn't see the Zeri pick that game. They decided for a kill lane and Kaisa Pike, so they still have that option on the table as well. So it'll be interesting to see how they want to go in the bot lane there. They proved that they can take over and win that 2v2 hard kill lane against Lucian Nami. Do they bring the Zeri this game? We don't know. Do they try to go with another hyper carry like a Jinx or an Aphelios like that? Well, that remains to be seen. But it'll be interesting to see who they end up picking up in this third game.
Yeah, it does still seem that, at least the pop-off areas for both of these teams so far in both of these games, it's been primarily the bottom lane, right? It's been the ADC really popping off. Game number 1, it was that Zeri. Game number 2, it was absolutely the Kaisa, and it was both sides, right? It was Idol the first game, and then it was Yanni the second game. So both have the capacity to do that. Now, Sean, moving forward for at least the compositions here, one of the things that I know that we talked about in between games 1 and 2 was for the losing team in game number 1, :3, the lack of tank tankiness. And then I have to kind of say the same thing about Zuby Zoomers for this game. Do you think that that is something that moving forward they're going to focus on more? Do you think it has that much of an impact, or do you think it's more about how they utilize these picks across the map?
I think it's definitely more about like how they utilize it. I mean, like I think like a bunch of us who didn't like just have like the Kaisa love train going on thought that the comp for uh colon for Team Pringles was going to like be like pretty solid. But we ended up seeing both in game one, around 8-9 minutes. You give the enemy AD carry a triple kill, that kind of makes it tough. 7 minutes for that drag that you leashed for them, enemy ADC gets a triple kill. So, having a tank won't really matter if the enemy AD carry is accelerated as fast as that. But it'll be really interesting to see what the adaptations are. Kind of really excited now knowing that we're going to at least get to a game 4 because now we're going to start seeing some of these, like Seraphine, right? She's been permabanned right now. Yumi has been permabanned. When do some of these bans actually drop off for whomever is like on the blue side who wants to first pick some of these ones to where we're trying to see like I think the later this goes, the more ease of execution you want to see from the types of champions that are picked while trying to maintain some level of comfort. But that's what I'm really looking forward to see. So this is going to be the interesting adaptations that happen here in draft that we were talking about in the pre-show.
Yeah, and I think it is actually kind of important to make that note too of saying that while this is a Fearless show match, that means that the lock-ins, right, the selections cannot be played again throughout the rest of the series. However, there are no rules on bans. So they can keep the same bans all 5 games if they really want to. There is a possibility that when we were talking about, really good first picks, we were talking about Seraphine, that just might not ever come to fruition. But we'll have to find out as we take a look here. It does look like our teams are actually lined up correctly. So Zuby Zoomers back onto the blue side, just like game number 2, and colon 3 once again on the red side. This is where you guys just fight for the mic. Go for it.
Okay, I didn't want to interrupt anybody,
Fight.
Sean's got the spirit stick right now, I guess.
No, I'm kidding. I'm just messing. Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting that they went back onto the blue side here. Personally, in my opinion, I think it's a lot better to draft blue in this meta, but that's if champ pools are open and there's no real. Like if you're playing at the professional level, obviously, I think blue side's way better to draft. So it'll be interesting the adaptations that they make from this game. Not only can they not pick any of the 5 previous champions, but they've also have they still. I believe that they have Zeri or Sivir on the table available to pick still, because I believe that Zuby Zoomers picked Zeri the first game. I'm not 100% certain. I'll have to figure that part out. I'm not sure if they're picked or picked.
You're absolutely right about that. So the picks, those are actually swapped. So it should be for Zuby Zoomers. It should be the Jack, Sejuani, Corki, etc. So yes, you're right about that. Good call. Good catch.
We're looking right now at possibly Seraphine being open, and she will be. So Seraphine gonna be open for the first time this entire series. And to your point that you were saying, Dylan, it's like, yeah, if it's pro level, but this is above pro, okay? So
but we still smack that shit B1 Seraphine.
Exactly.
Baby. Let's go. I called that.
Yeah, let's fucking go. Yes.
It's beautiful.
We love Seraphine here.
And actually, sorry, it is just the first 5. The picks are swapped. Sorry, just so you guys know. So see how there's a space now? Azir, Lucian, Nami, Gangplank, Lilia, that's accurate. So just so everybody's clear, the first 5 picks for both of these teams could be swapped, but the second 5 picks are actually accurate to the last game.
Perfect.
If we're just gonna slam Lucian, and I have to assume Nami comes next into the Seraphine. So it feels like, hey, whatever bot lane got played last, we're just gonna try it out and see if we can do it better.
A champion that is open, that's really good into Seraphine when you can steal a really good ultimate. Silas.
I was gonna say the only one that can steal an ultimate. I mean, that's.
I think that you might have to wait a little bit more. Like Silas is a great R3 pick here, depending on what they want to pair with it.
Yeah.
But yeah, absolutely. As Ryan pointed out in chat here, Silas is open.
Oh wait, Ryan's here. Open. Totally didn't notice.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, that's crazy, bro.
Yeah, but depending on who they pick here, they definitely have to be worried about the Silas R coming out and Silas being picked on red 3 here.
And
Yeah.
it looks like it's probably going to be either Seraphine mid or support. So
Okay, Seraphine can go
Ooh.
anywhere she wants. Okay, she's a strong, independent
okay, if
single
I
woman.
see Seraphine jungle though, I don't care even if Dylan chooses the other team. I'm choosing the other team.
Yeah. So basically, by locking in, okay, well, there you go. That is a pretty good indicator that there are 2 now enchantresses on the side here of Zuby Zoomers, and it is very likely that Seraphine is going to be the solo laner. Obviously, that Lulu pairing really well with the Sivir here, but anything happens, right? We have Dakar and we have Colliver in these 2 positions. Neither of them has a very set champion pool, right? And they're very flexible in terms of the position that they play as well. So we'll have to see. And there it is. This is what I was talking about. Smax's #1 champion, whether or not they have won or lost, it does not matter. They love the Bard. That is by far their highest pick. And so they really are investing a lot right now into this one towards the bottom side of the map.
I've got to be honest. Blue side feels like they're taking a little too much meat out of the meats and cheeses, because that's 3 high priority picks that they have not only locked in the first part of this draft, but they've also taken away any charade of the Seraphine being flexed. I mean, you could say like, I don't know if Machine Gun Lulu on the top side of the map is a thing that we want to pick here in game number 3, but so far it looks like it takes a little away a bit of that obfuscation that you would look for in drafting, and just kind of put your cards on the table here entering the second round of bans.
Good word, obfuscation. Bit muddled, right?
They're listening to the cast.
They don't have us.
Rhyme said it was a Vex angle, so honestly,
crazy.
I'm not gonna lie. When you were talking about a champion to be paired up down towards the bottom lane, all I could think of was Vex. I am the biggest Vex bot stan. She's absolutely ridiculous. Yes, you're not gonna get all the kills, but as long as you just need a heavy-handed bottom lane to get a ton of pressure, then you are good. But mid lane obviously is where we would be looking for this one. Vex into the Seraphine, nasty, right? Very, very easy to play that one. Tons of damage, lots of survivability, also the ability to further initiate and follow up the rest of the team, because you do have a lot of mobility with everybody here. So I really, really like the Vex selection. That might be locked in, that might not. We have the final bans to be pushed through. It's the Silas and the Lysandra, and it's that fancy new Udyr and the Hecarim. So it means that colon 3 is definitely looking to try to limit Sulpan as much as possible in these next couple of picks.
Yeah, kind of looking like it's probably like an Olaf or Xin Zhao angle for Sulpan. As they take the Olaf. Okay, cool. Literally listening to cast all the time.
No, they said they're not. They said they're not. Hold on.
No, they reply, "Hey, we're not listening."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where'd you get that
But just really interested to see where this Olaf has to be going top lane, I assume, unless it's just going to be a Wukong top and Olaf jungle sort of thing.
Nah, not really that viable right now. I was waiting for the Ornn to eventually come out here for Miko. This is one that actually was mentioned a couple times. Again, I don't remember who's been saying who, because we've all been saying such awesome stuff about these matchups. But I know that the Ornn was brought up in between the last game here before this draft. So that's definitely one that is good into the Olaf, at least to keep yourself up and sustained until the mid-game portion of the fight, right? And that was the Xin Zhao that you were talking about as well. So both of the jungles, Sean, that you just mentioned are both the lock-ins for these teams. That's gotta feel good, right?
Yeah, it's okay.
Pretty good.
It's hard to impress this guy. Somebody has to run Soraka top or something. I don't know.
Hey.
To jungle.
What's the chances that this may just be like, does Prussian play Lucian at all? Because Lucian Bard feels like the most odd marriage that I could think of.
Yeah, it looks like it. I mean,
it still could technically be.
It still technically could be, and that's what I want. I want the spicy picks. All right, we're talking about like cheesy spicy picks. This is what I've been waiting for. The later this goes on, the less selections they have for standard picks, right? And when you're trying to make a composition, when you're trying to find any cohesion, whatever you can pick and choose, whatever you can connect the dots to, will work out relatively well here. So I like to see what feels like colon 3 kind of picking a few more spicy picks, and then Zuby Zoomers maybe going back to what feels comfortable with them, since the last game didn't quite go how they were intending.
I also think that when you look at the Zuby Zubers comp, you have double Enchanter with Xin Zhao. Like, Xin should be able to do whatever he wants this game, and
Yep.
Ornn is going to help everyone scale and give Ornn items, and Seraphine is a champion. So it's going to be it's going to be really, really tough, because if you look at some of the main champions for Team Colon 3, like Wukong wants to go in, Olaf wants to go in, Swain wants to be in the middle of the action. Kind of tough to do that if you're getting polymorphed or charmed or rooted or knocked up by Xin Zhao or hit by Ornhorn. So it's really, I think it's kind of tough for Team Colon 3 to play the game, but then again, I've also been wrong every single game, so I have no idea. I can't make a prediction anymore.
All right, that's a good point,
with that
Dylan.
Being said, can you not choose blue side this game real quick?
I
Like,
bet
just
I
for
picked
fun.
red side to win this game.
All right.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
No.
That's, you know what? That's my favorite confident picks there. But we'll see if it does in fact work how we are expecting it to. If Dylan is in fact, the proprietor of the team losing by picking who is going to win. No matter what, this is a tiebreaker just to move on into match point, right? So keep that in mind. Whoever wins this game number 3 is going to be moving into game number 4, saying, all right, we can end this without having a full series. We can end this in just one more game. There's that level of confidence. There's the level of mental maybe that is disrupted by the team that has fallen behind. And you also have to consider, if Zuby Zoomers loses this one, that might be a lot of win that's been taken from their sails, because they won the first game pretty decisively. That second game then, though, went pretty heavy-handedly over to Colon 3 or Pringles. So this is where the mind games start coming in on top of, just the fearless show match concept, I think, which I really love.
There's a lot of economy in this concept. I keep on saying the meat and cheese angle, but just if we think about it from
You're making me
the
hungry,
sense of,
though.
I know. So I'm gonna say it's one of those those based Twitter takes where it's build your world's team with $15 and it has all these crazy prices for people. This is a lot of these are the $5 marks with Seraphine, with Lilia, Sivir, Ornn. Xin Zhao's a $4, maybe a $3, depending on who you are, that are being invested in this game. And so whether you win or you lose, now you have to start dropping down in tiers. There's still the Victor available, Jinx, Aatrox, some things like that are still out there for you. There's a lot in the jungle, but they're investing very hard into this game from Blue side, saying, we want to decisively win this and get to that match point. But this is where Fearless starts to go in, whereas on the opposite side, Swain's about, the only big time, and Wukong are about the only big time ones that you would maybe want to save for later on in the draft. So it's almost like the econ round for the side of Colon 3.
Oh my God, how many games are we talking about here?
I like that kind of CS:GO, Valorant kind
Valorant,
of
right?
Lingo right there, econ round.
That's
how many the back of the
we're
book.
Talking
That's
Riot,
all I know about
okay.
FPSs.
Yeah, we're talking about Riot. Okay, it would be
They
Valorant.
shoot
We're
the
not talking
guns.
CS:GO. We're doing a Riot game here, right? We can talk about other Riot games. But yes, Valorant, the economy round, for those of you that don't play the game, is basically just to save up your money so that your team can essentially stack out on buys. Of course, for that game, it's weapons and ability purchases for the following round, with kind of the anticipation that, all right, we probably won't win this round, right? So that also has to be kind of considered into the idea of maybe going with an econ kind of pull here. And I do like the style of champions, I gotta say. While yes, I am looking really at the Zuby Zoomers to be able to take this one because of the composition, I like what we're looking at for Colon 3's decision making in trying to turn this kind of mosh of champions into some sort of cohesive composition that can work well in the team fight stage. I think that's what they're focusing on.
For sure. I definitely like the comparison of trying to do a lot with a little, or when we're talking about the economy, it's so blue side is they get lemons and they're trying to make lemonade, where red side is they also got lemons, but they're trying to make grape juice, and wonder how
Why isn't it sweet enough?
Yeah. So it's gonna be if you can do it, it's gonna be really impressive. But we kind of expect lemonade to just be made by the side of blue side.
Yeah, blue
All
side
right.
hyper rolled. They got their 8 and then hyper rolled.
Well, oh my God, stop.
How many more
Stop,
different?
that's what
Yeah,
I'm trying. At least it's Riot Games, okay? At least
I
he
had to
followed the
throw it
rule,
in. I
all
had to
right?
throw it in.
You know what? He followed the rule. It's fine. Dylan, that one's acceptable, right?
Yeah,
But
Dota Battle Chess.
before we toss to the casters, I'm gonna really quickly, before you guys get off on another tangent, really quickly go through and see predictions. I know most of us have already actually said what we want or what we expect to win here, but really quickly, just for the crowd, one more time, we're gonna start with Dylan. Real quick, what's your pick?
I got to pick red side. Why not? Let's
All right.
let's go out on a limb here.
Excellent. Regdor, what's yours?
Zuby Zoomers got the golden snitch.
They got it. All right, Sean, just up to you.
Yeah, double Enchanter Zen gonna run it. It's blue side.
There it is. Once again, a broken desk, but we're going to see how the action unfolds by tossing it over to RMC and Orbital. Take it away.
Thank you very much. I think we've had a time here at
Taking a hard
least.
shit on that side, my
What's
God.
been going on? We do still hear our analyst test, I believe, still having a blast on that end too, because it is great. This has been so good. This has been so good so far. I just want to, before we get into this game 3, I want to give a massive shout out to everyone that is tuning into this. I appreciate everyone that tuned in. This has been an awesome show so far, and I think the analyst test, drew it up best. This is where we get pretty crazy. So if this is the first game that you are tuning into, you are in for a freaking treat. These teams are starting to dig deep into their champ pools. They're starting to have to realize that you only get to delegate so many champions at a time. You're starting to take a look at things. Hey, do we really want to play our top tier pick in this game? I mean, well, hey, enemy team grab 3. Do we really want to show this one card that we had for B4 or whatever, right? So many things have to be thought about. I mean RMC, I know the desk got hyped, or maybe not so hyped when we saw the double enchanters. I know you yelled at me when we saw the double enchanters come out here. What?
Yeah.
I mean, let's hear this.
I mean, double enchanters. There is one AD carry who thrives on double enchanters and is, in the words of Regdor, maybe like a $2 pick or a $3 pick here. You didn't have to burn a Sivir with it. You heard on the analyst test. It's all about Seraphine, Lulu, Xinjiao. What AD carry you run is largely irrelevant. So if it's largely irrelevant, why burn the Sivir? There's a champion that exists, Neela, who would love to get double enchanters. I am so sad we didn't see it. And that raises the question, too, of what else does Zuby Zoomers have in their pocket? Because I can guarantee you, with the players on this roster, with the people, the names we're seeing here, they're not going to just randomly waste a whole bunch of high priority picks and have nothing left in the tank in game 3. They must have pocket picks. And I'm running through most of the meta picks. Most of the meta picks have been played already. So if there is going to be things coming out in round 4, it's probably going to be those pocket picks, the one tricks that these guys like to play.
Yeah, and the best part is again, it can be picked up on the other side. We said it over and over again. There's so much to talk about, but I do want to lend a bit more credit to the theory that we could quite literally see these guys run it down if they don't think the game is winnable, right? That is the worst thing I have to say, but it has to be said, right? They said it on the desk, and we'll say it again. We'll reiterate. If you do feel like a game is not won and feel a draft, it is a viable strategy to tank the game, right? Pick a champion that you don't think you're going to win on or anything like that. It is technically viable, but it's not fun. What's fun is Biora realizing that this is a bad spot to be in. We don't have sound, but we know what the blood-curdling cries of first blood on a Xin Zhao sounds like. It sounds like this game's going to be good.
Yep, already double enchanted with Xinjiao, and you give him first blood? Oh my goodness, Selpan must be in 7th heaven right now with how things are going. And for Biora, I want to highlight, he gets hit by the first CC and presses Ghost. Yeah, but you're not getting out. The moment you got hit by that, you knew everybody and their mothers were sitting in that bush right there. Burning the Ghost will not save you. Hoppy Cow, though, trying to slow down Selpan a little bit. Problem is, yeah, that Xinjiao got first blood, and Miko is going to be more than happy to be able to set up this wave however he wants in the top lane.
Oh yeah, this is going to be interesting. I heard a funny statement earlier. I got to remember where it was. I'm sad. I'll have to find it later because there was a moment where Smax was talking. I think about the renecting. I don't know. It was an entertaining statement. I had a thought and I lost it. This is my brain. Game number 3. So taking a look at things though, Hoppy Cow already realizing that hey, I might have an advantage on the top side, which Hoppy Cow has, right? 2 games in a row, Hoppy Cow has had an early game advantage. Game 2, it was fully taken care of. And in Game 3, we could see that happen again. The difference, of course, being that Game 3, it's an Ornn, right? Ornn doesn't care if that happens or not.
Yep. Yeah, and you do actually win the lane early as an Ornn as well. Wukong does need a bit of time to skill up. He does get, additional armor as he levels up throughout the levels here, and none of that matters to Ornn because he does true damage to you, percent health damage to you. So he completely doesn't care what on earth you're doing, and you can see it right there, Miko winning this out really, really handily. And let's not forget too that Selpan could be anywhere. Every lane would benefit from a Selpan gank, could set him up for all of these ganks as well. So Hoppy Cow has to keep in mind that even if you start winning the lane, you have to be careful how far you're pushing out.
This is the scary part. It's always going to be the scary part. Looking like a lane freeze is going to be tried to prep here by Yanni. This is something that they're going to be real happy about, as Idol and Column are actually the ones piloting the Sivir and the Lulu. So at this point, once we get into game number 4, Sivir and Lulu will no longer have to be worried about. That is a full combination that these teams do not have to take a chance on. Of course, Column and Idol saying, hey, we want to make sure Sulpin can get this lovely, lovely Scuttle. Scuttle taken by Sulpin, bot lane given that advantage.
Yeah, and Idol, just kind of chilling a little bit, shoving this in here, and Selpan not quite able to find anything. You can't get the bot lane, like you said. Yanni and Smax freezing out that lane really, really well. Biora not really invadable. He's just cleared out, and mid side as well. Dakar completely out of mana, so sad for Selpan that he's not able to find anything with this Xin Zhao. I personally hate it when Xin Zhao's do full clear and don't gank, but in this case, he literally had no other options.
It was either show up on top of a ward and say a nice hello and give away all tactical information of jungle, or just go back to farming, right? You take the latter there, so appropriate to say the least. And for the first time, outside of that first blood, we have gotten a quiet start, right? No one burning crazy flashes except for the ghost, right? No one going, I want to say, too ham at the start in terms of damage output. This does feel like a game where we're gonna see a slow ramp up to these massive, ridiculous team fights later.
Hey, Orbital, have you heard of the Caster Curse?
Yes, I have, and I realized that I have just triggered it, and I'm sad now.
The play-by-play is sad that he Caster Cursed a quiet game. Okay, yeah, we believe you, Orbital.
Listen, you don't know what's going on. I'm playing 5D chess here. Leave me alone.
Yeah, maybe. Already we're getting some action in the mid lane here. I mean, when I look at these rosters, it's not going to be quiet. You've got a Xin Zhao, you've got an Olaf. Both of them like to gank, and more importantly, you've got Smacks on a roamer.
Oh, Smack's on a roam, but who can follow up? This is going to be the kill. Bior able to pick one up. Smack's going to live just for a little bit longer, but Sulpin is going to take that kill. Getting under tower very, very quickly, but Bior almost went so far. The ghost was up, but this time it's a trade for a flash. A 1-for-1 Grand Lane control to Prussian.
Yeah, Prussian also had to burn flash on that play, so it's kind of a 2-for-1. Dakar does die, but he still got his flash here. So in future, we might see Sulpan revisit this mid lane to try and punish Prussian. I'd love to see that happen pre-6 as well. Before, oh, never mind. He just hit 6. I was going to say before Demonic's Ascension comes online, because that's really when it starts to get a bit more complicated to fight a Swain, and you always want to try and burn that one out before all winning, or else he just sits there and does the big suck.
All right. See, we're gonna have a little bit of talk here. We do have a short technical pause going on here. Hopefully, we get an update of what's going on and get an idea of why this pause is happening. But at that point, we are gonna watch Miko say, "All I want to do is a belt as loud as possible." Bellows breath, clearing out that wave. Pause coming in though. Of course, everything should be slowly ramping back up. Nothing to really speak of in terms of massive. All right, never mind. That pause was just a, I'm so sorry. I said the wrong thing, typed the wrong thing. Gotta apologize.
I don't know what that pause was. Do we? Okay, so there is all chat enabled. Good to know. Maybe we'll be able to find out.
Oh, did Colomer just rage quit after game 1 and needed a few more minutes? Is that what it was? Oh, no, never mind. Looks like we are having... Oh... Looks like there has been an issue, it sounds like, with Colomer's PC. Actually,
I know that he fried his cat, Zuby, fried his graphics card like a week ago. But I think he got that fixed.
Yeah. I don't know. I didn't follow the Twitter story of how that was working, so maybe it did, maybe it didn't. But top side, Hoppy took one too many tower shots, and the combo is real! Miko giving a taste back as soon as we are out of the pause. Solo kill to Miko.
Yo, that was actually super clean from Miko. The way he did that combo, too. It's so fast. Hoppy Cow just lost 40% of his health in a blink of an eye there. And that's what I'm talking about with that Ornn early on. You do clap that Wukong quite heavily here at level 6, and that's not going to change anytime in the near future. Hoppy Cow does need his first mythic before he's going to be able to start matching up with that one.
That's the only matchup that we are kind of scared about. But Snacks going straight in. Said, hey, I don't have to worry about too much. Yanni, though, pinched off on the side. That will be the eye coming down. No real catches so far. Idol left out in the front. And Dakar said, hey, I'm here. I'm ready to go. Sulpan dives right back in. But the only one with really an ultimate up is going to be Prussian. Prussian is going to get so much damage down. Biora says, give me a time too. You tried to fight Prussian, who is level 7. And you do get the trade kill. Both junglers are down. HP bars bleeding for the side of Team Pringles. Dakar, Colomer, and Idol, though, get out with so much HP left.
Yeah, and Demonic Ascension, this is why you have to be careful when you're playing around a Swain at level 6. The base damages are base sustain is pretty high there. And you saw that when the Encore landed, there was a second where Zuby Zoomers were like, hey, do we really want to go in on this? Like, Demonic Ascension is running. They opt to at the end, and that nets them a 1-for-1 trade. Now, trying to be opportunistic here. If I can't win the lane, I'll take your jungle instead. But if anything, you just leashed for Selpan. And Selpan's just going to be like, thank you. That's fast. Now, Hoppikawa does have to be careful. He doesn't get collapsed on by Miko and Selpan here.
Yeah, this is getting spicy all the way through. The ganks that were happening earlier on in game number 2 are starting to get rebutted a bit here. Hoppikawa on the top side for the first time does not have a lead. That is something that does have to be stated, right? Again, Hoppikawa has been one that a lot of players have watched for, and now is going to be on the back foot here. Dragon, though, does go the way of the red team. It is Team Pringles picking up that Cloud Drake. It is going to be Infernal for game number 2. All right, RMC, taking bets. Let's see. Is it going to be Ocean Soul again?
Okay, let's see if I can Casa Curse this. Yes,
yeah.
Yes, it's going to be Ocean Soul.
Okay.
Well, I mean, we've seen a lot of it, and it does really favor the winning team, who is able to secure control of the bushes as well as that dragon here, especially when you've got a champion like Swain as well. I just think Ocean Soul is utterly terrifying. And speaking of that, healing cut. I'm curious to see when we start to see that come through here, especially, you know, when you're running a Seraphine. You're not really looking to trade, so a lot of times we won't see the Oblivion Orb till after Mythics are completed in that mid lane. And if anything, maybe Colomer could look to pick up an early Oblivion Orb just to help cut healing if they do look to team fight. And considering what we've seen so far, I have very little doubt we will see them team fight fairly frequently in this game.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about the side of Zuby Zoomers. I'm even looking at the side of, you know, Team Pringles, right? Where do they start getting it for themselves, right? Because double enchanters, you want to see it against the double enchanters. And you don't have the benefit of waiting around like Colomer or Dakar do, right? You know you're against a squad that is going to be shielding up, that is going to be heavily healing up. It's a necessity. You do not get to wait out in that terms, right? So I do want to see both these squads be able to pick it up, you know. Or if they're just going to go like full gung-ho and say, hey, put our pride on the line and say we don't need it, they could do that too. I don't know. I don't know what's been talked about, you know, in those champion selects. So we'll see what happens though. Smacks so far has been roaming out fairly heavily, but is being spotted out fairly consistently, right? Deep little ward there. Sulpan dropping that Eye of the Herald and saying, hey, we're going to go ahead and get some damage on this bot side. A little pressure up. Sulpan says hello, and the tower says goodbye.
Yeah, and one of the things when you're taking turns this early is that it actually speeds up the game a lot because you're now unlocking people. Okay, Prussian's roaming down.
Yes, they are, but how quickly can Prussian get there? That is the question. TP rolling in here for either Dakar or Miko, and it draws in the fight. Huge knockback, though. Prussian being dropped so quickly, way faster than they were expecting, and it means the rest of the team is there. Look at that ulti. Dakar flashing to try and get in range. The extension does not land, and under the tower they go. Biora trying to survive with just a minuscule amount of HP, single digits, if you will. And that, for sure, is Zuby Zoomers taking first tower as well as 2 free kills.
Yeah, and meanwhile, Hoppy Cow died as well. I'm assuming in a 1v1 on the top side of the map. Miko just clapping him yet again here. Yeah, Zuby Zoomers, we kind of expected this in draft, right? The fact that they took so many strong meta picks here, we did expect them to win this game, and certainly it's been going that way. It has been that Xinjiao we've been talking about with the double enchanters really starting to pop off. Miko on this Ornn, to me, is a little bit of a surprise that, you know, he's really crushing it right now, but that's just going to make the snowball go all that much faster. And Idol, the Sivir will scale up, and late game she puts out the most damage of AD carries bar none here, so Idol's being set up incredibly well. And for the side of Team Pringles here, I don't know, do you make the call and say like GG go Knicks at this point, like just kind of play it out, or like do you go for that Hail Mary play? Because if you're going for a Hail Mary play, I'm not sure which lane you look to. It feels like it has to be mid lane, because that's the one lane where you're not going to absolutely slammed in equal numbers.
I could agree with that. I also want to see Biora just take off on this Olaf, right? I want to see a very fun Olaf game. Normally I say that when they have double enchanters backing the Olaf, but Hoppy Cow so far is playing Ring Around the Rosie, and where do I go from here? Unfortunately getting tagged up. No one, absolutely no one is going to be juked out by that move. Prussian now getting caught on the back end. Dakar really wants to get a little bit more. No root comes in, but it is going to be enough. Prussian says, all right, time to do or die. Biora coming in with a bit of damage on their own, and it is going to be Prussian surviving because of the ulti from Smax. It keeps Prussian alive, but it's only keeping them alive. The ensuing fight that is coming out means Smax will lose their life. It is 1 kill so far with that scuttle taken. Biora is going to be chased down. The dodge is not going to be enough, and Biora is cut down for a double kill.
Yeah, I don't know if it's better if you just let Prussian die there. I mean, you got Prussian out, but you lost Biora and Smax for your pains here. Now, you've got no control whatsoever here. Oh man, ZB Zoomers just get to push in mid-side. They're going to get the start for Utterly Free. Dragon spawning in 10 seconds as well. They can fall back to that. Granted, there are some low-ish health bars for them in Dakar and Idol, but I also feel like it's not that big a deal when you've got double chargers.
It's okay, negligible. You have a very very large safety net, it feels like. So this is going to be a nice way to play it. Taking a look here, we are onto the dragon. This will be Infernal, the way of Zuby Zoomers. And once again, the shakeup here has been one dragon apiece to either side. And, oh my gosh.
Oh, okay. You know what? I don't have the magic here. I can't caster curse it. Orbital. I should have let you say it instead. Third straight game.
What'd you do? What'd you do? Like, this is 3 times in a row.
You know what? I've been on the analyst desk too much. I'm losing my caster title. That's why my caster curse is being ineffective right now.
Ooh, that one stings a bit. Now we are seeing Idol though, dodging out on the knockup and being able to flash away as well. Hoppy Cow went too far. Oh, Idol, that was a perfect spell shield to bait out the jump in.
This today has been a bit of the Idol highlight reel. He gets a penta in game 1, and he gets a beautiful outplay here in game 3, and that's just my mental is tilted watching this. I can't imagine what Team Pringle's mental is like right now.
Yeah, Idol has been, you know, I got very lucky. I had a buddy, and it was Idol saying, hey, you know, I play a little bit. I want to see what's going on. Idol, we needed another ADC to join in, right? And I was like, yeah, let's do it. Let's have some fun. And my gosh, has Idol shown up pentakill in game 1. Right now, 2-0-5 as well. And I mean, it looks so smooth between Colomer and Idol, right? They play so well right now.
You sure he's your friend and not Colomer's friend? They look like a duo, man.
I know, right? Like, it feels like it.
Well,
They're
for now,
so
though,
good.
they're just going to fall right back onto that Herald. It just spawned. We're seeing Zuby Zoomers here just taking every objective, it feels like, on spawn right now. The Dragon, the Herald. I just want to kind of see them group up and take turrets as well. They didn't quite manage to take down that mid lane outer on that last particular push here, but it is kind of low and prime to take, and I suspect that with the 6k gold lead right now, they can just brute force it. There's not really too much that can go wrong for them. Yeah, they would have to monumentally outplay, and worst comes to worst, Pringles plays into you, you win that fight anyways, and you just keep on pushing.
Yep. First tower is going to go down here, or third actually, for the side of the Zuby Zoomers, and they are taking no chances. Honestly, at this point, it feels like they're going to try and break open for the inhibitor. At 16 minutes, Shelly's still very, very healthy. One more charge, and the rest of the squad can roll right in. It's going to be a challenge, but Smacks with the cheesy Bard ult, not allowing that tower to take any more damage.
Yeah, meanwhile, Hoppy Cow, bot side, taking a turret, able to answer at least one back. You get bounties as well, which is nice. It's not still quite equivalent to the mid-inner going down, gold-wise, but you take everything you can get here. And overall, you called it cheese at this point. I don't even think that's cheese anymore. Like, it's a standard play for Bard, and especially for somebody like Smax, who really does actually know some cheese for some very specific champions here. Yeah, that's just stock standard. And I need to see a bit more from the side of Team Pringles here if they want to win. I want to see some really finely aged cheese here, something off of Regdor's charcuterie board.
Oh, okay. I did hear as well that I think Sherva's gonna straight up go ahead and straight up order barbecue and see if it gets here in time. So we might just get like a full-on banquet on desk if this goes past the 4th game as well. We have had a disconnect. It is going to be a small challenge. I think we're going to get a pause, hopefully. Yeah, there we go. So we do get a pause. I did get word that Miko's computer went boom. So it sounds like the Column curse has transferred towards that top lane, and that feels so bad.
No, man. Miko just clapped Hoppy Cow so hard it clapped his PC while he was at it.
Ooh, okay. Now you're just flaming. Like, this is just straight up, you are straight up fanning the flames here.
I'm flaming? Miko be spitting flames, man. His Bella's breath literally clapping here. No, man. Like, Miko's 4-0-1, and there's very little of this is off team fights. If you look across on the other side, Hoppy Cow is 0-4-0. That's where those 4 kills are coming from here.
That is absolutely fair. I can't even rebuttal that. Refute this. This is amazing to see, right? And I'm loving it. Again, we did state that Zuby Zoomers have applied a large chunk of their champ pools directly into this game, right? And we did say that there are times where you do have to kind of send it, right? Game 2 was really the sending of Colon 3, right? They were the ones that pulled out the Prussian Vel'Koz and the Pike coming out as well. This is Game 3, right? Wanting to say, hey, we got to put ourselves at a good spot, and they have done it. So really, at least on paper, you know, the analyst that's saying all red side, you know, all Team Pringle, is this really outside of expectations, right? I mean, if they want any, or if their words are hard, right? If this game went any differently, would have been a larger surprise, let's say.
Yes, because then Sherv would have been right, which would have been mind-blowing right now.
Okay.
Yeah, only Sherv predicted red side, and why not, right? And props to Team Pringle. I will give them credit that they didn't really like full send the draft, right? They did what they could based on what they considered an economy round. I think the draft is potential. Like, it's not, they have tools. The problem is just that they've fallen too far behind at this point here. And with their composition, they needed to get ahead and stay ahead of the opposing team. Even now, they've not given up. They're still looking for plays here, and I'm still holding out hope. I think Smacks can still find them some picks here, and especially with an Olaf, you can find those picks. You can snowball, like right here. There's a chance.
Yep. And Sulpin flashes straight into a waiting Olaf. They are going to get the kill. In goes the Encore, lands on 3, but it's not body block. Colomer is actually going to get locked up, so no Wild Growth just yet. They have time, but look at the Sivir. Idol says, gimme, it's a triple. Don't you dare say it. Don't you dare say it. It's a Quadra. Smacks trying to hightail it out. You don't want to give this one over. You do not want to allow this to happen. Idol with another boomerang, and Knight goes down. It is! It's a second pentakill. Idol, you mad lad. It's a pentakill, and you know what that means. Idol 705.
This tournament is rigged. It's scripted. I don't know how much he PayPal'd you, Orbital, but that is ridiculous to give him 2 pentas here in this series that we have already. And yeah, you know what? It's not even 20 minutes. They're looking to threaten the inhibitors here. Pringles, they've reset. They've come in. I could see them just getting wiped a second time if they push too hard here.
I mean, it could, but Colomer doing very nicely on the body block position. Hoppy Cow already down at 50%. Dragon coming up, which is what Team Pringles are trying to aim for. Hoppy Cow chase out Colomer. You're on the wrong side of the map here. You don't have flash, and it's forcing Sulpin to jump in as well. They are going to get 1 kill. Sulpin going to get a nice Crescent Guard off, but is going to fall as well, and that is the burn. You said it, RMC. You called it. Captain Curse not real. You predicted the future. It is an ace back for Team Pringles.
I curse the future. I was saying if Pringles over chases, they get wiped, but no, they do the wipe in here. That's absolutely massive. Really well played from them. They needed it, and now they've cleared all the bounties here. You can see the gold gap just absolutely closed. You know, we were approaching a 10k gold gap before this. Now, you know, it's closer to about, it's under 5k here. So it's still rough for them. I can't really say they're back in it completely, but they have a much better chance. And if they can continue finding picks here, they actually still can find picks. You saw how hard it was for them to kill Salpan, even when they collapsed 3 members. It bought so much time for Dakar to TP and for the rest of the team to show up. So getting this gold, especially on critical members here, like Biora, like Hoppy Cow, these more burst-oriented champions, potentially, that's how, maybe you can try and catch out Sopan again. Maybe if you can find Dakar or Idol, you're back.
I mean, RMC, I don't know. I honestly am... I'm so impressed at how these teams have played this out, right? Like, this is number one, again, pentakill for Idol. Second one of this series, right? Didn't PayPal me anything, said I'll do everything that I need to. Got 2 pentas in this game, in this series. But the immediate response back, you were talking about how Team Pringles, they're not down and out. They're not saying, hey, we're going to give up or anything of the sort. They have absolutely fought back, given themselves a little bit of a breath of fresh air, and they're still going for these high-risk, high-reward plays, right? Hoppy Cow playing off on the edge, saying, hey, I still want to try and play and catch Dakar out. And that might be what happens. You can see the rest of the team zoning up. That's going to be a knock-up. That's going to be a jump forward. Encore lands on 1, but the tower is zoned away. Look at that play. It's a perfect kill. Hoppy Cow is able to survive, but it is answered in that mid lane. Prussian falls to the full might, and guess where he died. Died on the way to the tower. This is going to be Zuby Zoomer saying, hey, we got the kill that's closer to your base. We're going to go ahead, and wreck the tower as well as the inhibitor.
Yeah, great. You killed our support on the side of Zuby Zoomers here. And yeah, that was actually our support. Congratulations, you activated our trap card. Whereas Team Pringles, like, Prussian's actually a critical part of their damage here. I think he had the most gold when we did get to see that earlier. So he's a critical part of the team. Not to mention, he's also the Oblivion Orb holder here. So when he goes down, there's no more healing cut left on the side of Team Pringles. You can't fight when he's dead.
Absolutely not. And as we take a look, we are down to the Baron, 21 minutes, about 22. And the teams are looking for it as we get the most lovely teacups ever. By the way, that skin, we have not been able to say it. That skin is friggin' phenomenal.
It is. I love it. I don't usually care about skins, but this is a very, very cute skin.
I feel like it's on par with Meowkai, right? Like, the saplings at that time are also very, very cute, right? Like, but this one takes the cake. This one absolutely takes the cake. I have biases to skins. To be fair, I also play Vigar way too much, and I love all the skins for Vigar.
What does Vigar have to do with memes?
I don't know. He's short, I guess? I don't know.
Is that a short joke?
Yes, absolutely. This is taking a look. We are watching as Zuby Zoomers are starting to kind of pressure in, so clearing out the words, making sure that they take the safe route at least, but they do feel the full weight of we are in the lead, right? We do not have to play as safe as normal. We can easily have Miko frontline and give it our best shot, knocking down some more towers and inhibitors.
They don't have to, but they are playing incredibly safe right now. They don't want to actually throw at Baron. They've already kind of messed up a little bit on that bot side push, and that's really what's put us in this state right now where Zuby Zoomers aren't just full sending it here. Now, Hoppy Cow and Biora are looking for the flank. They've come in from behind, but they don't have a minion wave.
Yeah, they don't have a minion wave. They also don't have the team. This is what happens when the other side just says, yeah, we're going to pinch the weaker pinch. And this is what happens. Hoppy is going to get the cyclone off, but you're still dead. And you got no one. Zuby Zoomers say, who caught who? Miko gonna pick up one. Idol picking up a second kill. Biora absolutely running for the hills and getting chopped down. The Sivir makes it a triple. No Penta in sight, but maybe a Quadra Smacks. Gonna try and go for it. This is the chance. Idol, yeah, you want another one. Give it over. You do. It is an ace. Not even a Quadra. I can't believe they didn't give the Quadra. It is the game over screen. So we are taking a look. That is 2 games over to the Zuby Zoomers, and they will move to match points. All eyes pointing forward as we are getting into game number 4. But it was, again, a very lopsided match. So, taking a look, getting ready for game number 4, we're going to throw it to our analysts to figure out what we might see. Are the Zuby Zoomers going to get another power set, or are they going to have to dip a little bit further into the champ pool? Only time will tell. Don't go anywhere. We are going to go to the analyst desk and get ready for game number 4.
Oh, well, that's a lot of confidence in us, Orbital, as though we're going to have any anticipation of what has been happening. Because so far, none of us has actually been fully right. Aside from Dylan being fully wrong. Right? right? Now he's playing the counter game, right? So Dylan, all right. Sean, well, hold on. Okay. No. You off the record, you don't get off the record counts. All right, hold on. Okay. Dylan, I'm tossing this to Dylan. All right. I'm getting interrupted by my third analyst. Going into this next game. All right. First off, do we feel like the confidence, the mental, that has actually hit enough of a stride here for Zuby Zoomers to get closed out of this one? Or how are we feeling moving forward? Do you think the mental game is impacted whatsoever in this series? Dylan, you're muted again.
I'm muted again. So
Those were the winning lottery numbers.
Ow.
Oh my
So,
god!
I don't think that Zuby Zoomers are too worried. They kind of put all their eggs in one basket with that game, right? They picked the Sivir, they picked the Seraphine, they picked the Ornn. So they put a lot of their cards on the table, and we're like, you know what? We're going to win this game, and then we'll figure it out how we close it out from there. So from that perspective, they still have a ton of options on what they can pick, right? But it's going to be a little bit more difficult as they did take away a lot of those, S tier picks from this last game. So it'll be interesting to see what they come up with next game.
All right. Well, before I hop over to somebody else, I might as well just continue with you, Dylan, real quick. Is there anything that you want to see out of next game that we haven't seen? Because now we're in game number 4, right? This is technically match point. The series could end after this last game. It could go to a full series game number 5. Is there anything in particular that you haven't seen yet that you want to see a team pull out? Maybe something that is kind of like a hidden pick for any of these players that they haven't yet revealed?
I want to see new Udyr in a game. I'll put that out there. I haven't seen the champion be played yet, so in like a competitive environment. So yeah, I'd love to see it come out.
He's busted. I'm actually very surprised that we did not see in the first 2 games. I don't think we saw any Udyr ban. We did see one in the last one. So hopefully in this next game, that one will pop out. We'll have to wait and see though. Regdor, in terms of that last game, I was kind of talking about the fact, of course it was right before it ended, but the fact that it was a lot more back and forth, right? That was kind of what we were looking for. It wasn't, all right, I see what you guys are saying, okay? But it wasn't a 10, 15K goal differential, all right? It was like a 3, 4, 5K differential that we were kind of looking at that was sort of going back and forth. So at this point now, do you think the teams have kind of felt each other out, that they're on top of each other's game, or do you think it's still about comfort picks moving forward?
I think it's a mixture of both of those. I think they're starting to see what angles they're trying to take with the draft, like that Olaf pick away and stretching the jungle pool in the second round of bans. Felt like number one, you dropped your jungler to the second round of picks. Additionally, double enchanter, I kind of got an idea. You just want a super engine for this like jungler like an Olaf. And they kind of picked it away. It didn't do anything great for them. Didn't give any good graces on the red side of the map, but it was a good concept. So I think they are starting to feel out the draft styles. But to the other side of like, these games have been super one-sided. I think the only reason this looked a little bit different is because like Zuby Zoomers like got in a conga line and decided to walk in one at a time into the enemy jungle off of a reset. But if it wasn't for that, I think that it would have just spiraled to that 8, 10K gold mark. But they bought in, they did the full purchase, right? All these high tier picks, and they won out on it. And it sounds like, if I heard that correctly, they're going to be on the same sides again.
Yes.
So I think that the old blue one, the all-powerful priority pick, is going to be very telling because there's not that many that we would think traditionally left on the table for them.
Right. And I think the lesson has been learned. It feels like they let one game where Seraphine slid through the ban phase. And I think the lesson was learned that we just don't let it slide through when it comes to blue side having that opportunity, right? So, Sean, going into the next game and looking at the previous games that we've seen, knowing what champions are banned out, knowing what we're looking at, do you think either of these teams has an ace up their sleeve, basically? Are there any certain picks? Is there anything that you're looking for, maybe, that all right, they haven't like released the Kraken in this sense yet?
Well, I mean, so neither team has played Yuumi yet. Also, there is stuff like you're going to have to ban the Seraphine on blue side since we're staying on the same side because, Colon 3 hasn't been able to play it yet either. So you're talking about just don't let it through. I was kind of just looking through the list of champions, and my God, if the Fearless draft should have been done in like season 5, because there are just so many champions that you can
Yes.
pick. I was like, oh, I want to see this one. I want to see Fiddlesticks. I want to see Kane. Wait, I want to see Alawi. Wait, I want to see Rumble. Wait, I want to see Pantheon. Like, I want to see all these different kind of picks.
Yeah.
I would think that it's actually probably going to be like, if I'd have to say, like what role it comes from, not necessarily what champion, it would probably come from the AD carry or bot lane in general, is what I'm expecting. If I had to pick a champion, it'd probably be Nyla. I think that
Okay.
champion is really underutilized, and if either one of these AD carries can play it, that would be the champion that I think just kind of cements the deal if it is for the side of Zuby Zoomers, or if, pushes us to a game 5 double match point.
Yeah, okay, so kinda like what Dylan was saying about, the bottom lane focus still being really the primary point here, right, of locking down these really strong ADCs. There are still a lot of options, yes, and I think we mentioned as well, the Zeri, that might have there are these kind of pocket picks that maybe have been pushed back due to the fact that it is a Fearless show match. We talked about Zeri being picked up by Idol in game number 1. That's where he got his first pentakill, right? Absolutely popped off here. So going to this next one, that is an opportunity they have, and I do believe our amazing producer has actually aligned these picks correctly for this matchup. And nope, as I say that, it is all correct. So all of the picks that you are seeing there, they are separated by a space in between each one. Thank you so much, Camcom. Absolute. I mean, absolute. What Emperor, Empress? What's the combination of the two? I'm not quite sure, but a great person
Legend.
all around to have him back. So as we go into this next one,
mythological ethos.
yeah,
that is
exactly. There you go.
Camcom.
Exactly. Yeah. There's no proper word for that one. But the Seraphine has been banned away. The Kaisa has been banned away. The Senna, and there it is. The Udyr come out. I want to see the Aatrox. The Aatrox has not been banned. That has been a first or second pick ban, I think, on almost all of these games. That's another one that I think could be very, very useful. That, potentially the Hecarim. I don't know if there are any other picks that you guys are looking for that I know both of these teams are good at, but those are a couple off the top of my head.
Give me some Fiddlesticks.
All right, okay, come on, we get it. It's not really a prio pick for any of these players. I understand your want for the spicy pick. Okay, here's another one. I want to see the Pantheon support. I want to see Smacks pull out the Pantheon or the Vi in that support lane. And I think now is kind of the time, right? It's you have this situation where your back's up against the wall, right, as colon 3, but at the same time, it's kind of your last hurrah potentially, right? So you have this back and forth with yourself. All right, do we go crazy this time to try to really throw off the other team, or do we go with more comfort picks that we've reserved for a fallback in a sense?
I think
Lilia
you have
Tristana coming out with the Lucian being picked last game. You need that AD threat to also play with Lilia in the mid lane. Tristana is a really good substitute for that. So it's nice to see, kind of going back to earlier this year where it was like Udyr Hecarim Lilia, Lilia Udyr kind of games quite frequently. That we're starting to see that now come out this deep into the series.
I'm just happy to see Tristana because it is a flex and so is Lilia. So you have like a double flex here on the red side. And Tristana, like the buff that she got, and I might be a little bit overemphasizing this, it's pretty, as the kids would say, poggers. Like 15% increase, like level 1 on rapid fire on that Q. So you're getting a bigger burst of attack speed, and it just continues to scale forward more. She's like this perennial champion that gets forgotten about, that not only can play super aggressive level 1 through 3 with the Hail of Blades, especially alongside somebody like Braum, but she also scales incredibly well into the game, just killing tanks and killing anything in between that they need to. So like a really great pick that can be paired alongside the Lilia in the jungle mid 2v2 or just down there on the bot side with Braum wholesale.
Yeah, I like the flex picks. The flex picks that we even talked about, the flex pick being locked in the last game. I think it was Dylan that was talking about how maybe it could have been a potential for really utilizing the flex pick, but then 2 enchantresses were locked in, so it was pretty evident, right, that the Lulu was going to the bottom lane, the Seraphine was going to the mid lane, so that flex pick didn't really actually work out maybe the way they wanted to, but it didn't matter because they weren't going for the flex there. They were going for the double enchantress. So now I do think that these flex picks are going to come in handy. Of course, on the side of Zuby Zoomers, that is absolutely not the case. We have the bottom lane locked in with this Jinx and this Nautilus, and then we have Sul'Pan locked in for Udyr, who, I don't know how much you guys have seen of the new Udyr, but my goodness, is he busted.
Yeah, new deer, same tricks. He's still really, really.
Hey, there's only one
strong.
deer, and she's on the other side, dude.
Oh, okay, yeah. But no, yeah, very, very strong. Gonna be interested to see what mid lane they pair Udyr. Also, could technically be an Udyr top. I know that's been a lot of stuff that
Yeah.
we've kind of seen in solo queue, where Udyr top, it doesn't have to get on that jungle. Econ can get his items a whole lot faster and does really, really well into a lot of the tanks
Mhm.
in the top lane. So, which I think is probably where they're going to pick their top laner here for the side of, Team Pringles. So it'll be just pretty interesting to see where they go here. I also like what you were saying earlier, Dylan, about feels like it was like earlier in the season, because now I'm just thinking like, what if you had like a best of 7 fearless draft? Like, do we just continue going backwards in patches of like what meta we were in, depending on what champions are picked and stuff?
Got it.
Most certainly could, based off of what we're seeing now. Because Mundo was strong at the end of last
Oh.
season. You play him jungle, you play him top,
Oh.
you play him whatever. Mundo goes where he pleases.
I love it.
He does whatever he wants. So it's actually, I think it's a really great pick into Udyr and into Nautilus, right? With the CC shield that he has currently, basically the built-in Edge of Night, I think. Yeah, it's pretty interesting to see how they'll counteract this. And we get the vibe.
Yeah, there it is.
See it. Hey, it looks like all of us are kind of being hurt a little bit, right? A lot of our requests have been met here. Unfortunately, Yumi did get banned out there in phase 1, so that's not one that we see come
Thank
through.
God.
But the Udyr, you were the one that suggested it, Arishun.
I just said no one's picked it. I didn't say I wanted to see it.
The Udyr and the Vi have come into play. So there's a lot of initiation on the side of Zuby Zoomers. And I was going to say there's not a ton of that long range damage they're looking for, but they're going to finish out this draft with a Ziggs. So basically, this composition on the side of Zuby Zoomers is protect the Ziggs, protect the Jinx, feed them as much as possible, and get them as many initiations as possible, and also get to the team fight stage as quickly as possible. Whereas on the other side, I definitely feel that longer game being played out, right? A lot of the scaling, a lot of the items being built up to be able to actually conserve yourself into a fight like this.
Oh, it
Okay.
is. Okay, so it is the Tristana mid. Love it. Guys, did
Yep.
you hear the ringing? Because I called it.
Yeah.
And I think that shores up some things because Ziggs into Tristana. Yeah, I know that was a horrible joke. Like Ziggs into Tristana is not like the greatest feeling in the world, but has a much harder all-in threat. And it also looks like you have the Udyr top, which I don't know if anybody's browsed around YouTube. Udyr has too many disgusting builds.
Yep.
From full-on AD, AP, Moonstone Renewer with Thornmail, just all kinds of weird dark technology coming out of the ether of YouTube right now. So it's going to be a bit wild to think about how that actually is going to play out, because I don't know how Udyr's laning phase goes, but I just know that you guys said he's pretty busted. So
Yeah, it'll be pretty good actually. I think Miko's probably licking his chops because the Udyr Q-Max into a health stacking Mundo, yeah, that's not gonna be fun. I'm kind of disappointed actually by the Tristana mid, not because you called it, which nice cell phone coverage you got there. But more so because I really was hoping for something that was like controlling the zone, like a
Mhm.
Vygar. I thought with as many melees that they had right there would have been pretty good to see. But with the Caitlyn being locked in, it'll be interesting to see how this happens because now we have the Lilia on the opposite side, but unfortunately it's on red side, and trying to invade down into the bot side and do that kind of cross map is a little bit harder from the red side part of the map on Lilia as opposed to the way that we saw it earlier when it was on the other, or when it was blue side. But I'm really interested to see this. I'm really hoping we get to game 5 because with the way that these drafts panned out, I just want to see one more. But I'm really favoring blue side draft right now.
All right. Well, Dylan, I'm going to ask you this one. When we're looking at the bottom lane, first off, I got to say, I guess I'm a little disappointed that they didn't go with anything crazy, nothing cheeky or cheesy, right? This has all been relatively standard bottom lanes, support and ADC. So when we're looking at the Jinx Nautilus, the amount of crowd control on there, which is great. And then we're looking at the Caitlyn Braum, the amount of crowd control, which is also great. How do you think this lane is going to play out, considering that we have the jungles we do right now?
I think that it's really tough because Lilia definitely wants to play towards a split map, but it's also harder to do on red side, as Sean had mentioned. But if they are able to get some priority in the bottom lane, they could try and invade, which would help. But again, early in the game, it might be incredibly difficult to pull off.
Yep.
The one thing that Caitlyn does have over Jinx is range, right? So that is
Yes.
something that is working into their favors, but they'll have to play incredibly delicate because I'm pretty sure that that as soon as Caitlyn takes one step too far forward, that big old hitbox that is Nautilus Hook is definitely going to do some damage. So it'll be interesting to see how the lane turns out. In regards to later in the game, Jinx is that super mega hyper carry, right? So the longer the game goes, the stronger it is that she's going to be. Meanwhile, Caitlyn doesn't necessarily have the same features later in the game.
Yeah, I like that point. And you know, part of why I bring up this bottom lane is because two of the most busted passives, I think, in terms of supports are right now on Nautilus and on Braum. And particularly with these matchups, right? Because Jinx is going to want to go in close to do as much damage as possible. Obviously, so is Nautilus. He's got that passive where one auto is going to get the lockdown on each individual. Braum, on the other side, is able to throw out a Winter's Bite, get concussive blows laid down, and they want the space, right? They want the range that Caitlyn has so that she can pop the concussive blows, proc, get that fourth hit off, and then be able to fully engage. So I really, really like the dynamic currently that we have down towards the bottom side. And that's why I specifically brought up to you, Dylan, like how the impact of the junglers are going to be. And it's a very good point that, yeah, Lilia is going to want to do what she can down there, but she doesn't have quite I guess, that little bit of early game pressure that is available here for the side of Zuby Zoomers. So Ragdor, I want to talk to you about that. What do we need to see then from Colon3 for them to be able to excel this bottom lane without accidentally potentially putting Lily out there like we saw happen to Sulpane in the last game?
I think the first thing is like a lot around the level 1 neutral setup and gaining early vision to be able to actually have an idea of where the Vi is pathing. That'll be the first part. And then the second part is just giving that breath. Like Tristana, something that she does kind of do so well is that she has amazing wave clear, Vice into the Ziggs, who's going to take some time to really just one-shot waves. So all like they have to do is blow up the wave and walk into the river and just stand there and hide. And now the enemy team has to play the game of hide and seek, find the Tristana before she blows up, any of the carries. And you continue to create and just kind of cheat towards that side of the map to allow the Caitlyn lane to do what they do best, and that's just shove them under tower. Super important note I want to throw out is that Caitlyn did just get buffed. She got 15 plus, extra percent damage on those headshots. Plus now her ultimate does scale with crit. So her early scaling, that 2-item trough kind of got shored up a little bit. I don't know if it's going to, not be on the same par as Jinx, but definitely feel a bit better as the game progresses, especially in that laning phase.
Yeah, I will say the only thing being that with the 2 point and clicks of Vi and Nautilus versus an immobile carry like the Caitlyn, it's going to be like press R and then Ziggs is going to lob his bomb from across the map and then you're just going to have to rage.
Yep, that global ult. You guys, I mean, at least Sean knows how much I love global ultimates or even semi-global ultimates, right? And that's definitely one that can make a big impact on this. So before we toss it off to the casters, before we pass it into game number 4 here to see if the series ends now or if we're pushed out to a game 5, really quickly get your guys' predictions here. Dylan, we'll start with you real fast.
I want to go to a game 5, so I'm picking the blue team. Let me go 0 for 4 today.
All right, excellent. Regdor, what's your thought on this one?
Red side. Do or die. We go to game 5.
All right. Sean and Tonin, are you going to break that?
Yeah, I mean, I have to. It's 1-on-1. I'm just going to go blue side because I want to be perfect on the day, even if it doesn't get us to game 5.
All righty. We're going to toss it back over to the casters. Of course, Orbital, RMC, take it away into game number 4.
Hey, we are back ready to go here. We're going to have, hopefully, a load of fun. You heard it on the desk. Most of them want to go to a game 5, but of course the players might not want to, right? The longer we go in the series, the further you have to dip into that champ pool, and at some point you are just frustrated, right? We saw it before, though. There are some champions that are starting to be completely out of the draft, right? We are completely out of Sivir and Lulu. We still have a few select ones on the table, but come on. I mean, we get Udyr, we get Dr. Mundo. We are absolutely having some fun here.
Well, Orbital, as casters, we are contractually obligated to always say we want a game 5. So the casters of the team here, who are they? Sulfan, Colimer, time to start throwing maybe a little bit, get us in game 5. But no, for sure. And this was this is the attractive part about Fearless Draft. This is why all of us were so excited about it and wanted to participate in this, was because the longer it goes, the more interesting things get. Like, we're seeing new Udyr come through. We're seeing Caitlyn come through, Ziggs. These are not meta picks. In fact, we haven't seen them for quite a while here. And now we're starting to see a little bit more of what have these teams prepped? What did they think was strong outside of meta and coming in? Now, personally, I agree with the desk quite a bit here. I do think Zuby Zoomers on surface look really, really strong, but I'm also very biased by the new Udyr rework. He looks, at least when I've seen him so far, I have not played against him solo queue, I've not seen him competitive, but from the videos I've seen of him, he looks utterly busted. And unfortunately, even for a Mundo, who is a tank here, yeah, the percent health damage, both, not just on his Q, like Showdown mentioned, but on his R as well. That Storm, you know, when you pack it with a demonic embrace, yeah, tanks have a hard time laning into him.
It gets to be a point where you're nothing more than just a very, very crumbly wall for the opponent to get through. And you are hoping that that doesn't come to pass. You are hoping that you have a better game than expected. But taking a look, we have some fantastic other champions gracing the Rift. Of course, we do have the Yordles in the mid lane, duking it out for all that it is worth. Prussian breaking out the Tristana, and deciding that, hey, I can farm up very, very well in this mid lane. Went for the Cole first, saying, hey, farm it up, make sure I get a much higher CS value out of that. Dakar, though, the Ziggs is one that we all had some question marks, of course, the analysts tested, but I know you had a bit larger exclamation about, especially with a first strike setup. I mean, this seems, we're dipping down in there. It seems like we are very much dipping down in there.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with, I can't remember who on the desk was saying, I think it might have been Regdor there, about wanting to see a control mage from Dakar, right? Something like a Vigar, or I was thinking Victor, with the Gravity Field, with the Chaos Storm. You pump out a lot of damage that way. Ziggs has some control, but he's not quite the same, and it's very, very skill shot based as well. So high risk, high reward. Dakar has shown that he's got the mechanics to pull it off, but I just feel like ease of execution might have been easier here, not to mention your ability to actually trade very well with Tristana if you are playing something like a Victor or a Vigar. Ziggs, on the other hand, it's risky. And Prussian, that's a confidence vote that he's gone for that call, and he's not running that hill of blades. He's not looking to crush this lane early. He's saying that, you know what, I don't have to win right away here. I will still be able to deal with you come, you know, the later parts of the early game or the earlier parts of the mid game here.
By the way, it's us the middle, but it doesn't stop Tristana from jumping in. Of course, Dakar was very much ready for it. Went for that satchel second, knew exactly where to place it, and no extra damage was caused.
Yep, just need to play it safe, but keep in mind the cull will give that slight gold advantage to Prussian here. Smacks. Ooh, boy.
Early grab on the Smacks, who, again, this is something that we also can see quite often with a little bit more bruiser heavy supports, right? The supports want to get in your face. Whoever hits level 2 is, of course, going to have a bit of an advantage. And so Smacks loses out a decent amount of HP. He's going to heal that one up nicely, though. Sulpen, though, dancing up here into the mid lane, is going to jump over the wall. Does not land the bump on that Q. Is instead just going to run Prussian a little bit further up lane.
Yep, still getting all that health damage. That's going to be nice for Dakar there, helping him out. Topside, those two tanks here. This is not a wet noodle fight. We harp a lot on Udyr's percent health damage, but let's not forget Mundo's cleavers do percent health damage too. So it really comes down to, can Mundo land his skill shots? If he can, as we're seeing right here, you're able to actually match Udyr, at least early on.
Well, and get him low enough that Biora is actually going to show a bit in that top side as well, right? Nico, remember, only has the ghost, and popping it a bit early after you actually get it up is going to dodge the cleaver. But guess who's here? Prussian says, hey, gimme some more, and final shot is going to pop that sticky bomb. First blood does go the way of Prussian on this amazing, or hopefully to be amazing, Tristana.
Well, that's one way to do it. If I can't kill my lane, I'll go kill somebody else's lane, right?
Yeah.
Tristana's early damage, yeah, it's still there, and really well played. The collapse in from Semicolon 3 as well is going to set Miko a little bit behind, and like we said, topside, these little things do matter a lot. If Poppy Cow can get the lead here, get his items, especially the Mythic Spike, I think will determine a lot about how this top side of the map goes.
It's going to be pretty challenging here, and it's going to be fun as well. Kind of question marks all the way around as the junglers are still vying for their own supremacy. And that's going to be the big hope, at least, you know. all the junglers deciding, hey, let's go ahead, gank top, gank mid, gank bot, try and make it work. There might be a revisit towards the mid, so you can already see Solpin joining in that mid lane, tried to jump in a little bit further and actually burn the flash in the mid lane. So Prussian getting knocked up, knocked out, knocked around, is down to just below 100 HP. That's going to be a flash bomb, and Dakar is able to get a kill.
Yeah, I saw the gank coming in and I thought, Prussian's fine. He's got flash, he's got that rocket jump still, and he's almost 6 as well. But no, they just brute force it now. Miko just too far extended. He needs to drop wards if he wants to push out that boss.
Oh my lord, and it's battles all the way around. So we saw a fight in the mid lane. Now top lane is going to lose someone. And bot side gets bullied out as well. Colomer applying the pressure over and over again. It's either on Yanni or Smacks. Either one getting hooked over and over again.
Yeah, either works because if Smacks is too low, he can't actually stand up. What on earth was that?
Oh, that was a lollipop of lollipops right there. That is a hook that you were not expecting. And it does force Yanni even further back here.
How? That hook dodged the minions. I don't know how that works there. The minions were in the way and somehow it snaps onto Yanni. That is so unfair for Yanni, and that's going to force the recalls from both of them. Idol is going to get this push. Never mind, just actually recalls to buy. He doesn't want to fall behind in terms of the arms race, and now with Noon Quiver and Boots, if Yanni doesn't pick up Boots, I am worried. There we go. Yeah, I think the Boots is the more important thing to match here. If you don't have enough for Noon Quiver, that's fine. But the mobility, when you've got such similar ranges early on, really dictates a lot of how the poke lands.
Just a interesting style here, but Prussian, I mean, the mid lane gank just did not stop anything. What it did say is I'm going to go even further in. Dakar, even with Solpin helping, goes, buddy, this is not working out right now. And this is kind of what we expected, right? Prussian saying, hey, I got the value. This is a hook on the bot side. Biora getting locked up and is almost going to go down. One more rocket, almost take it. Flash forward, Idol takes that kill. It is now a 1-for-0 in the bot side. Biora falling behind in the recall game.
We're sweating. This is before ults have come in for multiple players here. I feel like once all the ults come in for the junglers and the bot lanes, things are really going to kick off Orbital. Mid lane, we'd have seen kills if Selfhand had his out. Bot side, I think if Idol had his kills, they might have just pushed that harder, looked for Yanni as well as Biora there. And for all that, it feels like Zuby Zoomers are doing pretty well in this bot side. Their top and mid are suffering a little bit here. So I want to see Biora play towards that top side. He's already ganked twice top. It feels like go top, get kill. It's that easy.
I mean, stick to the tried and true for right now, but it does leave a little bit to be desired on the bot side. First Dragon goes away, and hallelujah, RMC. Halla freaking Lula. We didn't say anything. No words were exchanged. We get a ocean dragon. Not a soul, only a dragon.
And that means we might get the higher damage dragons to come through. Infernal and Hextech. I would really, really want to see those here. Because I think the teams would be fighting a lot fiercer over those drakes. Now, speaking of fighting fiercely, junglers are both on both sides of the mid lane right now. They are level 6.
Oh, both level 6, and guess what? The season actually hits Solpin, and they say, sure, we can actually take this. If it's Solpin, we know we can kill. But the AoE, look at the AoE doing so much work. Rocket from downtown, just whisked by a little bit. If Prussian or Biora, I'd actually say that would have been devastating. Hoppy Cow gonna go ahead and try and sit in the middle. Miko not winning out that trade. And in the mid lane, Dakar finds Prussian's life. This is getting out of control now. Mid lane being so flip-floppity.
Yeah, and good roam up from Colomer in that mid lane. It really was the support difference that enabled them to find that particular kill there. If not, I don't think Dakar actually finds a way to get on top of Prussian. So slight win out on the roam there. Unfortunately, Smacks not able to find anything else. Like, he was a bit later on the move, and because he did try and move Yanni, not going to find much pressure onto Idol here either.
I mean, this is... I want to say this is one of the closer games that we've had tonight, right? Like, in terms of how the early fights have kind of rolled out, we've either seen one or the other kind of steamroll their way to 3 or 4 kills at the start. We are neck and neck, right? At 10 minutes, we are neck and neck. 3-2 kills, only 600 gold difference. This is the closest these teams have to a stable early game, or stable in gold terms, as Hoppy Cow burning that ultimate, having to pop it open, and Miko going, good, I got that ultimate out.
Yeah, both top laners trade ultimates. Problem is, Udyr's ultimate's on what, a 3-second cooldown? Because it's not really an ultimate. It's a base ability there, but able to burn that for now. And Miko stabilizing this top lane actually is super, super important when, pardon me, you already had a winning sort of mid-bot side for the most part here. It now allows Sulpan to be a bit more comfortable with leaving Miko onto that island. You're able to double down on these squishier targets that, as a Vi, you want to be able to sort of one-shot one-shot the targets very quickly. You've got the Sheen already here for Sulpan, so you can tell that, hey, I don't want to be going after this Mundo. I want to be going after the softer targets.
Bjorn Smacks did it again, RMC. Well, Bjorn did it again. Smacks for the first time. They just walked over a pink ward.
Wait, what? Where's the pink?
The pink is all the way down by Dragon.
Oh my god, it's the same pixel bush.
That's why the car threw a bomb. It's because they walked over a pink ward and showed where they were going. It's gonna be the death of me, RMC. It's gonna be the death of me.
Bjorn and Smacks, they're busy people. They didn't have time to stop and get rid of things. They just wanted to get to Herald on time. It's all about tempo, that magic caster word, tempo.
Oh man, the caster word that makes apparently 50% of the League community turn off a stream. Yeah, that word, right? Oh my gosh.
Exactly. Well, they did get Herald though, so you know what? It's fine. You don't get the kill onto Dakar. You don't need the kill. Herald's just as good. You can set up plays from that Herald, like maybe even a top lane dive if Hoppy Cow doesn't eat too much damage here.
Well, Hoppy is very happy taking this up, as Miko says this is not where I want to be, but they do go in. Depth Charge is going to keep Hoppy Cow very much close, and it's a flash to nowhere. Hoppy Cow goes down, second game in a row where Miko is starting to gain control of the top lane.
Yeah, and this is starting to feel a bit like a Colomer diff game. We saw, or we didn't see, Colomer roam up into the mid lane to help Dakar get the kill, and now he's roaming up to the top. If that Ignite didn't come down, I think Hoppy Cow could actually have turned the tides, especially with Biora waiting behind him there. But they cut the healing, they get the kill, and if before Miko had sort of equalized the lane, I think he's in a very, very comfortable spot to once again try and take control of it as we expected with this Udyr pick.
Yeah, this is starting to get to be a challenge, and as you said, keep an eye on where Colomer goes, but because Colomer roamed out, they're going to try and jump forward. Very nice set onto those traps, and it's going to stall out the fight, and because of that, Sulpan drawing a fight in easily to try and get this kill. Yanni going to flash out, so Smacks is going to be the one to fall. That'll be the 5th kill for the team, as everyone body blocks the ace in the hole.
I like how they just all lined up in a row, like Colomer not trusting Sulpan, going, you know what, I'll also guard my AD carry here. Now Biora dropping the Herald into the mid lane here. Dakar has to be careful. That turret is not long for this roll.
Yeah, that one hurts. I mean, this has happened twice now, but look at the rocket! Idle with the snipe! That'll bring it to a 2 more kills. 7-2 is the call. Tower does not fall either, and Dragon goes the way of the Zuby Zoomers. Alright, maybe I cast a cursor when I said this was the most even early game we've had, because it is now out of control. This is Zuby Zoomers taking a stalwart lead in terms of their overall advantages. Gold, maybe not so much, but I mean global advantages heavily their way. Gosh, dang it though, as we do here, the Cloud Dragon will be spawning.
I just want a replay of that moment. I want a picture of that moment where everything lines up so perfectly for Zuby Zoomers. And they make really good use of that choke point to make that happen here. And the best part is, like you said, they get the dragon after it. As soon as you get a kill, ideally you want to take an objective. The kill alone isn't worth that much, and that's why the early game was so even. Hell, even after all of that Orbital, the gold difference is only, what, 1,000 gold between the two? Because of the way Herald was used by Colden 3. Objectives win you games. Kills, secondary.
This has been a consistent, I think, throughout these games. It really has been, right? This has been keep everything kind of in motion, make sure you get those global objectives, and you're very, very happy, right? Contain everything that goes on and try and work your way from there. Right now, spreading out a bit thin, Colomer rotating back towards that mid lane. Prussian, for all the fight that has been going on, is currently sitting at 1-3-0, right? Sitting on the back end of these fights. Dakar has already built up a monumental lead in terms of gold overall, at least I would feel like, with that 3-0-1 scoreline and keeping even in the CS department. So this Ziggs, for as much kind of as we've given in terms of the high risk, high reward in terms of the AoE and in terms of the skill shots, it's still yielding results. One of the big carries is currently 301 and will be burning people down quickly with that Leon Juice.
Yeah, and that's huge props to Takar for being able to pilot this. Oh, that ward right there is doing so much work. It spotted up both Smacks and Biora. Now, it's not enough to save this turret here, but at least it... Okay. But at least it sets up a potential kill. Self and no flash, though. Can't quite follow up. It does at least burn out the Lilting Lullaby defensively.
Oh.
What? Between turrets?
Yep, that was a flash from Colomer. You can actually see the Hextech flash currently for that move. So Colomer haven't burned the flash or Hextech flash to get in range, catching Yanni completely off guard. And now in the top lane, Miko is winning out. Every lane has now won in favor of the Zuby Zoomers. The Cats are reigning supreme here as the rocket lands and Biora is down to about 10 HP. This is Zuby Zoomers saying all cards are done. We have played our final hand and we will make sure that we take control of this early game.
Yep, every single lane here. And I want to go back to the mid lane you're talking about, right? Dakar high risk into that Tristana here. Tristana's meant to win that lane. Tristana has the stronger early game here. And if you're not winning the 1v1, you've got problems. Because Ziggs, with that bomb, with that Mega Inferno bomb, has a pseudo global and can affect a larger area of the map. And we're seeing that put to really good effect. So suddenly, the lanes you're supposed to win aren't winning. And then the enemy can start helping out their side lanes, which were some of the questionable lanes. And now, Zuby Zoomer has winning lanes across the board here. Cold and 3 have to start grouping up because if they remain isolated, they'll just get picked apart.
This has been kind of the name of the game here as Miko wants another round. Round number 3 could be coming to the top side. This Udyr, one of the champions that we said we just got to watch, is so frustrating to play against. Colomer going ahead, getting some of the action in, but takes too many tower shots. Is down to 50%. In goes the depth charge, and Hoppy Cow trying to heal up as quickly as possible with that ulti. But guess who else is here? Idle with red buff says, "Gimme it," and you walk into the rocket. It was hard one way or another, but it is a kill. Idle picks up the 5th kill for this Jinx. This is out of control, RMC.
Yeah, 11 and 2 here. The gold still isn't that wide. It's still only a 3.3 thousand gold difference, but that's about to blow wide open here. Prussian able to find a turret on the bot side again. Bounties versus an inner turret.
Oh, max range hook, baby. Max range. This is continuing to go on. Even the shield is not doing that much. Idle is just ripping through AC Bard. The bomb from downtown making the heal come out. An almost negligible Yanni lives with just a sliver of HP. And it is a power move by Zuby Zoomers. They push 2 towers in topside after getting 2 kills on the opposing team.
Man, I know what the thought I wanted to say was Colomer. Colomer on this Nautilus, man. I am not a fan of Nautilus support. I know that he's sort of the professional engaged support of choice here, but I actually just think he's generally weaker than, say, Leona, if you're going to pick hard engage. But Colomer right now, the way his hooks have been lollipopping and somehow finding turrets, like right at the edge, it looks like it kind of missed, and so he just extends that extra inch. You know, bot side when it somehow sneaks between minions. Colomer makes Nautilus actually look broken, and Enchanter's not as strong as they actually are in this meta.
Agreed. Like, this is... I have one friend. I have a singular friend. Sorry, Colomer. I don't know her friend yet. I'm so sorry. I wish I was friend. Yeah, I have a singular friend, right? I have one friend that loves playing engaged champions. It's the only other player that I would be okay watching a Nautilus play out, right? Like, this is the second, right? This is getting out of control. Another one! Are you kidding me? This is not stopping. However, Colomer might be the sacrificial lamb. You get one, and you get another. Look at the rockets, though. Hoppy Cow is burning and trying to heal up. Idle is focusing the tank, though. This is not the right play to make. Ace in the hole is going to be body blocked. And my gosh, it feels like it could have been so much more. Idle chase onto Dr. Mundo, and you're facing a tank who is healing up incredibly well. Idle, this is, I mean, you're staying pretty further out. Hoppy Cow cutting off the way. Miko trying to chase it out, and that'll be another bomb. The burn makes it work, and they almost get the assist. Another zap means Smacks is going to be run out, and in goes Miko. Miko says they're low enough. Miko wants some value, and look at it, takes almost no damage. This Udyr is just too dang tanky.
if anything, Colon 3 here just barely survived. They actually come out, and I'm going to call this a win for them, that they managed to trade 1-for-1 at the end of the day. Now, Ignite was down for Colomer. It's up this time.
Oh man, this is gonna happen. Hoppycow, you got no ults, you got no flash, you got nowhere to go on down. Hoppycow, you're running away. One more rocket does it. Idol is godlike. Bow down to a false god.
You know what? It's not a penta. Not impressed, Orbital.
Oh, that's mean. That's mean. That's mean.
Hey, Idol's raised the bar for me. Game 1, Game 3, 2 pentas already. I want to see another penta. Jinx is a champion, if any, who can actually just kind of pull that off alongside that Sivir, alongside that Zeri here. But yeah, definitely, they're starting to run away with the game. Idol's target selection in that fight, as you pointed out, not ideal. You burnt everything onto this Mundo, and you don't have a Lord Dominic's regard yet. You don't have an Executioner's Calling. You don't have the right tools to cut him down. And despite that, the rest of that team was still able to punch back and almost win the fight. They just weren't able to actually find any kills. But if you look at the health bars at the end of it, both teams probably ended up roughly the same.
What a turnaround here. This has been so much fun. Again, the games have gone kind of back and forth, but these last two have been fully Zuby Zoomers just going ham here. And the hook again, catching Prussian out of the air, and the rocket to secure it. Because why freaking not? A double knockup with the depth charge means Yanni is still stuck in the front line. Miko chasing it as fast as possible. Lands on every single trap, by the way. Every single trap, because it doesn't matter. The car is unstoppable.
They're just landing everything here. This is why Udyr feels so broken. He's got like a mini Ragnarok built into his E now. You know, the shield on his W feels stronger. The Storm constantly chasing people down. He's got the Demonic Embrace completed. So it's not just the Leandri's burn who's killing people now. Demonic Embrace as well. You think you survived when you walk away? Think again.
And for all that it is worth here, we have what could be a Dancing Shelly in our fastest game here so far. It is Zoomy Zoomers zooming their way forward, saying we just want to win. It is over. The $500 League of Legends Fearless Showdown has been won by the Zoomy Zoomers. Of course, we would love to discuss this, but we are not the analysts. We are the casters. We have been here for 4 amazing games of League of Legends between these casters, analysts, coaches, and so many awesome players. Let's go ahead and throw it back to the analysts to break it down and take us out.
Oh, thank you so much, casters. Orbital, obviously, thank you. Big ups for just setting this whole thing up, investing your own money in it, getting some stellar players and some stellar games set up for us, and then also doing some exceptional play-by-play casting there alongside RMC. One of my favorite duos, honestly, is the two of them, Orbital and RMC. They make a really good pair, and I'm glad to see that they got some really good games today. Unfortunately, for everyone on the desk and everyone watching, we don't get a game 5, but that does mean that there is a lot of potential, right, for maybe some rivalries to happen here, maybe some attempts at throwing back this series, maybe some rematch kind of situations going on. But real quick, I'm just going to, touch on each of you guys, and we'll talk about, what you enjoyed about this Fearless Show Match series. Do you want me to go to you? Was that you? Were you putting your hands up?
I was touching
Okay.
every.
Okay, yeah. So we're just I'm gonna touch on you guys and say, all right, what did you guys get from this? Who do you appreciate? Sean, stop it.
Wait, that's not even me.
Who do you appreciate behind the scenes, right? Who has helped out with this, and what are you looking forward to maybe in the future? We'll start with you, Dylan.
So first off, I love the format. The thing is that it allows players to expand their champion pools. It allows players to improve overall at their specific role. So it's something that I'm a huge fan of. And I think that it really came to show tonight where we got to see a lot of diverse compositions. We got to see a lot of different things come out, right? Like I thought that I wanted to see Udyr, but I thought it was going to be jungle. I didn't know it was going to be Udyr. So a lot of variety. The players, obviously, the banter and all the fun stuff happening was great. So props to them, and also props to Orbital for setting this all up together and putting it all together and getting all of us wonderful people and at a time and place to make this happen. So love the format. Want to see it more often. Can't wait to see it more often.
Yeah, I agree. Thanks. And it's been exciting working with you too, Dylan. It's been nice to see some new faces here. So speaking of new faces that I haven't really gotten the chance to work with, Regdor, I've seen you aplenty in the amateur scene. Same thing with Dylan, but we haven't gotten the chance to work together. So this has been very exciting. But now I'll give you the floor to just kind of talk about what you enjoyed, what you look forward to, right? If you have any shout outs, any call outs, anything like that.
Yeah, absolutely. I number one, I'm just super thankful to everybody here on the analyst desk with me, as well as Orbital and RMC. A lot of people I've gotten to look up to and say many great things about that I now get to work with. That just makes my little heart happy. It would give me my hair back if it could. But as far as the tournament goes, it's super amazing. Me and Orbital got to talk about it at the LAN, a LAN that we got to work together on. And it's like you said, it makes not only the players better, but it makes coaches have to think differently of like these circular drafts where you say, oh, they pick X, then we pick this Y counter. We ban these two counters so we can play this lane. And now all of a sudden that becomes like, instead of a Rubik's Cube, it's like a hexahedron. This Goliath thing that you have to like think and move through. Don't Google that. I don't know if it's the right word. But it really makes you rethink draft and rethink what are the intentions and how you intentionally want to play the game throughout a series. That we got to see, like you said, you can't just rely on this 5v5 scary Zeri team fight comp. You got to play dive, you got to play pick, you got to play side lanes, and it was really well done overall. So thanks to the people who aren't full-time players but played one on TV tonight to very varying degrees of success.
I love it. Yeah. And again, great to see your face on this one too. I love to be able to work with you guys, since we haven't gotten the chance in the past. So that's been tons of fun. Sean, I've worked with you plenty. Okay. So I'm not going to give you that. And you know the drill, I guess, at this point. I'll give you the floor. What do you want to talk about? Anyone you want to thank? Anything really exciting that stood out to you or anything you want to see in the future coming up?
I want to see more fearless drafts.
Yep.
I want to give mad props to Orbital for putting this all together. Huge shout out as well to Camcom for all the stuff doing with production. Fantastic. I don't know if I spelled a hexahedron correctly, but I could not find it on the internet.
Nice.
Then
Nice, Sean.
and it's just it's a lot of fun. Also, speaking of people who play players on television tonight, Miko was one of those.
Literally a
So there you
player.
go.
Right?
Team Fugitive lives again.
The bucket wins.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. But I really, really enjoy this. It's a lot of fun. Love the banter. Love the casualness of the desk and the casters and everything. This is what I feel like esports is always at its heart, because it's just a bunch of meme, bunch of people just getting together, playing games and talking back and forth, trash talking and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
it was nice to kind of do something a little bit more relaxed and something like this.
I agree. And yeah, I mean, all the props in the world. You guys already said it 3 separate times. I'll say it a fourth to reinforce it. Orbital and production, of course, Camcom behind the scenes. I've been hyping them up because they have been literally the only one that has been working on observation, all the production, setting up all of the overlays that you see here over the game. All of that stuff was done by them. So big props to them. And yes, Regdor, a hexahedron is in fact a thing. It's a polyhedron with 6 faces, okay? All right, we got that linked. We have it cleared up. No mistakes happening here on the desk today. I want to thank you guys for joining me. This has been an absolute blast chatting behind the scenes, talking and sharing this information with those who have been watching and hopefully those who may watch in the future. And if you guys don't already follow the channel, please follow Orbital on here. We're going to convince him to change his name on Twitch because this is not an easy channel to find. So we'll all work together to get a little more promotions and hopefully some more Fearless show matches coming up in the future. So from all of us here at the $500 Orbitals Fearless show match, we appreciate and care about you guys. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for watching. Thank you for playing. Thank you for commenting. And hopefully we will see you next time. Have a good one.